Welcome, weary traveller, to the sanctuary of the mind. Close your eyes now. Let the heavy curtains of the outside world fall softly to the floor, leaving you in a space that is entirely your own. Here, the air is cool and still, smelling faintly of old paper, rain-soaked earth, and the lavender drifts of deep twilight. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast, tranquil lake under a sky woven from the deepest, softest velvet. The stars above are not cold, distant points of light, but warm, glowing embers that pulse in time with your own breathing. Inhale slowly, drawing in the peace of this infinite night, and exhale the tension of the day, watching it dissolve like mist over the dark water. There is nowhere else you need to be. There is nothing else you need to solve. You're safe here, suspended in a hammock of silence, ready to drift down the river of knowledge. We are about to embark on a journey not of effort, but of absorption, letting the wonders of intelligence in all its cosmic and earthly forms wash over you like a gentle tide. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let your hands rest open and empty. The river is waiting. The boat is lined with soft furs and pillows. Step in, lie back, and look up at the cosmos as we begin to float. As we push off from the shore, the water beneath us is dark and smooth, reflecting the mysteries of the deep. Picture yourself slowly descending into warm, crystalline waters, weightless and free. Here, in the quiet blue, we encounter a form of intelligence that challenges everything we know about what it means to be a singular self. Imagine the octopus, that graceful dancer of the deep moving like liquid smoke through the coral reefs. It does not keep its mind locked away in a skull as we do. Instead, its consciousness is poured out, flowing like water into its 8 twisting arms. 2/3 of its neurons are not in a central brain, but distributed throughout its body, wandering through its limbs. Visualize this sensation. What if your hand could explore a texture and think about it without you needing to direct it? Each arm of the octopus has its own curiosity, its own agency, tasting the water, solving problems, and feeling the shape of the world independently. It is a committee of one, a fluid consensus of thoughts rippling through skin that can change colour and texture in the blink of an eye to match the sand or the kelp. It is a mind that is everywhere at once within its own body, a decentralized brilliance that allows it to solve complex puzzles and navigate mazes with a languid, alien grace. Feel the relaxation of that idea, the ability to let your thoughts flow out of your head and simply exist in the sensation of your limbs, floating, untethered, and brilliantly aware. Drifting from the saline embrace of the ocean, our boat gently grounds itself on a mossy bank, and we find ourselves walking barefoot into an ancient, misty forest. The air is rich with the scent of pine needles and damp, fertile soil. Beneath the soles of your feet, hidden under the layers of fallen leaves and earth, lies a network vast beyond comprehension. This is the mycelium, the Earth's natural internet, a white thread-like web of fungi that stretches for miles, connecting the roots of every tree in this forest. Imagine these delicate, ghostly threads pulsing with chemical signals, a silent language spoken in the dark. Through this subterranean architecture, the forest thinks. It is not a fast thought, but a deep, slow wisdom. If a sapling on the far side of the grove is stuck in the shade, the great mother trees use this fungal web to pump sugar and nutrients to it, keeping it alive. If a beetle attacks a pine gently swaying to your left, it sends a chemical warning through the web to trees a mile away, telling them to raise their defenses. Visualize this glowing underground nervous system, humming with altruism and communication. It is a reminder that intelligence is not just about solving equations. It is about connection, about the invisible ties that bind a community together, ensuring that when one stands, all stand. Feel the support of the earth beneath you, knowing that even in the stillness of the soil, there is a benevolent awareness at work weaving the world together. The canopy above us rustles, drawing your gaze upward into the swaying branches where shafts of moonlight pierce the green. Here, perched with watchful, intelligent eyes, sits the crow. These are not merely birds, they are observers, watchers of the world with memories that rival our own. Picture the sleek midnight blue sheen of a crow's feather as it tilts its head, looking at you not with instinct but with recognition. It is a soothing thought to know that nature sees you. Crows possess the uncanny ability to recognize individual human faces, remembering those who have shown them kindness and those who have offered danger. They hold these memories for years, passing the stories down to their children, creating a generational lore about the humans who walk below. Imagine befriending such a creature, offering it a shiny trinket or a morsel of food. In return, they are known to bring gifts, colourful glass, smooth pebbles, or lost keys, left on windowsills as a gesture of reciprocity. This is a transactional intelligence, a social understanding that bridges the gap between species. Visualize a crow gliding silently onto a branch near you, its presence a protective acknowledgement. It understands cause and effect, it uses tools to solve problems, and it remembers. In the vast, lonely silence of nature, there is a mind looking back at you, curious, clever, and capable of forming a bond that spans the divide between the earth and the sky. Leaving the forest floor, we float upwards, carried by a warm breeze across a vast golden savanna as the sun begins to set, painting the horizon in hues of violet and burnt orange. In the distance, moving with the slow rhythmic cadence of a beating heart, is a herd of elephants. Their intelligence is one of immense emotional depth, a wisdom carried in the weight of their bones. Picture the matriarch, her skin mapped with the wrinkles of time, pausing to stand perfectly still. She is listening, but not with her ears. She's feeling a vibration in the ground, a low-frequency rumble known as infrasound, travelling through the earth from a family member miles away. This sound is too low for human ears to hear, a secret language that resonates in the chest and travels through the soles of their feet. It is a communication of pure feeling. Elephants mourn their dead, revisiting the bones of their ancestors, gently touching them with their trunks in a silent ritual of remembrance. They comfort the fearful, touching trunks to reassure one another. Imagine the profound peace of a mind that never forgets a friend, an intelligence rooted in empathy and deep social connection. To be an elephant is to be part of an unbreakable emotional web, where wisdom is used to protect, to guide, and to love. Feel the grounding heaviness of their presence, the comforting rumble of their communication vibrating softly through the floor of your mind, anchoring you in a state of deep, heavy relaxation. The savanna fades into a mist, and we find ourselves once again suspended in the deep, dark blue, but this time in the open ocean, far from any shore. The water is ink black, illuminated only by the bioluminescent sparkles that drift like underwater stars. Here, the great whales glide, colossal mountains of flesh and thought. Their intelligence is musical, a sonic brilliance that spans entire oceans. Picture a humpback whale suspended in the gravity-free void, composing a song. These are not random noises. They are complex, evolving compositions with rhyming schemes and repeating structures, much like human poetry or ballads. A song started by a whale in the Pacific can be picked up, learned, and remixed by other whales thousands of miles away. A cultural transmission that crosses the globe. Imagine the vibration of that song passing through the water, a mournful, beautiful cello note that resonates in every cell of your body. Their brains possess spindle neurons, cells associated with high-level social processing and intuition in humans, but they have them in greater abundance than we do. They are the philosophers of the sea, processing emotions and social bonds in ways we can scarcely imagine. Visualize yourself floating near them, safe and small, listening to the ancient booming lullaby of the deep, a song of pure intelligence that requires no words, only the ability to feel the frequency of life itself. As the whale song fades into a gentle hum, we turn our attention inward, shrinking down, 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 until we are navigating the rivers of the human mind itself. This is the landscape of neuroplasticity, the biological miracle that proves you're never stuck, never static. Imagine your brain not as a hard, fixed machine, but as a lush, growing garden. Every time you learn something new, a word, a melody, the way to bake a loaf of bread, you're physically changing the structure of your own universe. Picture a tiny glowing tendril of a neuron stretching out across a dark chasm, reaching for another, sparking a connection where there was none before. This is the intelligence of adaptation. Like water carving a canyon, your repeated thoughts and actions forge pathways. If you practice calmness, the riverbed of calm becomes deeper, easier for your thoughts to flow into. You're the architect of your own perception. Visualize the feeling of a new skill taking root, the sensation of a light bulb moment as a physical blooming of light within the glorious folded grey matter. It is a forgiving intelligence, one that allows for second chances, for healing after injury, and for constant reinvention. Rest in the knowledge that your mind is fluid, capable of endless growth, expanding and reshaping itself like a cloud shifting in a slow summer wind. Deeper still, as the activity of the day subsides and the brain begins to drift towards sleep, a hidden cleaning crew emerges. This is the glymphatic system, a discovery that reveals the restorative intelligence of rest. Picture the city of your mind shutting down its lights. As you enter deep sleep, the cells of your brain actually shrink slightly, creating space between them, wide open channels like empty streets at night. Then, a clear cerebrospinal fluid rushes in, a cool, cleansing tide washing over the tissues. It flows through the brain in a rhythmic, pulsing wave, sweeping away the metabolic waste, the toxins, and the molecular debris that accumulated during the waking hours. It is a literal brainwashing in the most benevolent sense. Visualize this cool, silvery water rinsing through the intricate folds of your consciousness, scrubbing away the fog, polishing the memories you need to keep, and dissolving the stress you don't. It is the intelligence of maintenance, the body's innate knowledge that to function brightly, it must first be clean and rested. Feel this cleansing wave moving through you now, washing away the mental clutter, leaving your mind sparkling, clear, and pristinely quiet, ready for the silence of the void. From the microscopic tides of the brain, we drift to the damp, shadowed floor of an ancient cave where a different kind of problem solver lives. Here, we find the slime mold, a vibrant yellow organism that is neither plant nor animal nor fungus. It has no brain, no central nervous system, and yet it possesses a startling primal genius. Picture a maze, complex and winding. When placed at the start, this single-celled organism spreads out, exploring every corridor simultaneously, a slow-moving liquid search engine. Once it finds the food at the end of the maze, it retracts all the dead-end paths, leaving behind only the single, most efficient route connecting the start to the finish. It creates a perfect map. Engineers have used this brainless brilliance to design subway systems, letting the mold simulate the most efficient tracks between cities. Visualize the slime mold pulsing slowly, expanding and contracting, solving complex logistical problems simply by following the path of least resistance. It is a lesson in the intelligence of efficiency, doing exactly what is needed, no more, no less. It does not overthink, it simply flows toward the solution. Let your own mind mimic this simplicity, retracting from the dead ends of worry and stress, condensing into a single, clear path of relaxation and ease. We float out of the cave and into a sun-drenched meadow, where the air is filled with the drowsy, golden hum of bees. These tiny alchemists are masters of geometry and cosmic navigation. Picture a honeybee returning to the hive after finding a field of wildflowers. It does not simply lead the others there, it performs a dance. In the darkness of the hive, it wiggles its body in a figure eight, the waggle dance. The angle of the dance tells the other bees the direction of the flowers in relation to the sun, while the duration of the waggle indicates the distance. It is a complex mathematical equation performed through movement, factoring in the rotation of the Earth and the position of a sun they cannot even see from inside the hive. Visualize the perfect hexagons of the honeycomb, a shape chosen by the bees because it holds the maximum amount of honey with the minimum amount of wax, a feat of engineering efficiency that humans have marveled at for centuries. This is the intelligence of the collective, a hive mind where thousands of individuals work as one organism, guided by the vibrations of the dance and the golden light of the sun. Feel the warmth of that sun on your skin, the gentle vibration of the hum, and the sweetness of a life dedicated to creating something beautiful and sustaining. Finally, we come to rest at the foot of a giant sequoia, a tree so wide it would take 20 people holding hands to encircle it. We have returned to the kingdom of the plants, but here we focus on the intelligence of time and patience. Trees are not silent statues, they are slow, deliberate thinkers. They can distinguish between the nip of a caterpillar and the tear of a deer, releasing different defensive pheromones for each. They have a sense of proprioception, knowing exactly where their branches are in space so they do not crowd their neighbours, a phenomenon known as crown shyness, where the tops of trees leave wandering channels of sky between them. Picture the tree rings inside the trunk, a physical library of every year the tree has lived, recording droughts, fires, and years of plenty. They adapt their growth over centuries, twisting their trunks to find the light, dropping branches to conserve energy. This is an intelligence that plays the long game, a wisdom that understands that storms will pass and that stability is more important than speed. Lean your back against the rough, sturdy bark of this ancient giant. Feel the slow, hydraulic lift of sap rising hundreds of feet into the air, a silent, powerful defiance of gravity. Let the tree's patience seep into you, slowing your own heart rate, rooting you firmly in the present moment, standing tall, quiet, and enduring. From the stillness of the sequoia, we drift effortlessly toward the damp, rich carpet of the forest floor, where a smaller yet equally profound calculation is taking place. Here, amidst the moss and the mist, grows the Venus flytrap, a plant that possesses the uncanny ability to count. It is not a mind of neurons and synapses, but a mind of electric potential and chemical timers. Picture the small green jaws of the trap, open and waiting, lined with sensitive trigger hairs that stand like tiny sentinels. When an insect lands and brushes against a single hair, nothing happens. The plant waits. It is intelligent enough to know that a single touch could be a raindrop or a fallen leaf, a false alarm that would waste its precious energy. But if the insect touches a second hair within 20 seconds, 1, 2, the trap snaps shut in a fraction of a second. It is a primitive biological mathematics, a logic gate grown from the earth. Even after the trap closes, the counting continues. The plant waits for 5 more struggles, 5 more touches, to confirm that the prey is worthy of digestion before it releases its enzymes. Visualize this silent, patient counting occurring in the green quiet of the bog. It is a reminder that intelligence can be slow, deliberate, and discerning. It teaches us the value of the pause, of waiting for a second signal before we react, ensuring that we only spend our energy on what truly matters. Let your own mind adopt this green patience, letting the false alarms of worry drift by like rain, reacting only to what is real and necessary. From the solitary calculation of the flytrap, our awareness expands and drifts across the ocean to the arid, sun-baked plains of Africa, where great earthen cathedrals rise from the red dust. These are the mounds of the termites, towering structures that function as breathing lungs for the colony below. While the individual termite is simple, together they are a master architect possessing a swarm intelligence that rivals our best engineers. Picture the air inside the mound, cool and circulating, despite the scorching heat of the savannah sun outside. The termites build intricate systems of vents and tunnels that capture the slightest breeze, funneling it deep underground to cool their fungal gardens and their queen. It is a passive air conditioning system designed by millions of blind builders working in total darkness. They do not have a blueprint. They follow simple rules of pheromones and humidity, placing each grain of sand exactly where it needs to be to maximize airflow. Visualize the air moving through these earthen veins, a breath of cool relief in a hot world. This is the intelligence of emergence, the idea that small, simple actions, when aligned with a common purpose, can create something grand and functional. It is a soothing thought that you do not need to see the whole picture to build something beautiful. You only need to place your one grain of sand, breath by breath, trusting in the greater design. As the cool air of the termite mound settles, we find ourselves transported by the sound of rushing water to a cold, clear river in the Pacific Northwest. The water churns and foams, white against the grey rocks, and here we witness the miraculous navigation of the salmon. Their intelligence is one of magnetic memory, a compass built into their very blood. Imagine a young salmon swimming downstream, memorizing the unique chemical scent of its home stream, a bouquet of rock, soil, and vegetation. It travels thousands of miles into the vast, featureless ocean, living there for years. Yet, when the time comes, it turns and swims with unerring precision back to the exact river, the exact tributary, and the exact gravel bed where it was born. They navigate by sensing the Earth's magnetic field, feeling the invisible lines of force that wrap the planet like a protective blanket. Picture yourself flowing with that magnetic current, guided not by sight or logic, but by a deep, undeniable pull toward home. It is an intelligence of returning, of knowing where you belong no matter how far you have strayed. Feel the cool water rushing past your skin, the strength of the current, and the absolute certainty of direction. There is no need to check a map. Your inner compass is calibrated to peace, and it is gently guiding you back to your center. We follow the river's flow inward, turning our gaze from the external world to the internal landscape of your own body. Deep within you, lining the walls of your digestive tract, lies a complex network of over 100 million neurons, a system so vast it is often called the second brain. This is the enteric nervous system. It does not solve calculus problems or write poetry, but it feels. It is the source of your gut feelings, the intuitive wisdom that speaks to you before your logical brain has even processed the situation. Picture this network as a warm, glowing lattice of light in your abdomen, humming with the production of serotonin, the very molecule of happiness and calm, most of which is made here, not in your head. This intelligence handles the complex alchemy of turning food into energy, of protecting you from toxins, all without you having to whisper a single command. It is a silent, autonomous guardian. When you feel a sinking feeling, or butterflies, it is this ancient brain speaking to you, bridging the gap between emotion and biology. Visualize a warm, golden light radiating from your center, soothing and regulating. Acknowledge this deep somatic intelligence. You can trust your gut. You can trust the body's ability to regulate, to digest, and to heal. Relax your stomach muscles, letting them soften, and listen to the quiet, rhythmic hum of your inner self working in perfect harmony. The warmth of the body fades into a soft, snowy twilight as we travel to the boreal forests, where the air is crisp and silence reigns. Through the trees, we see a pack of wolves moving in single file, stepping into each other's footprints to save energy in the deep snow. Here, we encounter the intelligence of the mirror neuron, the biological basis of empathy. It is not unique to humans. It is shared by many social creatures. When a wolf watches its packmate play, neurons fire in its own brain as if it were playing itself. When you see someone yawn and feel the urge to yawn, or see someone smile and feel your own lips curve upward, that is your mirror neurons bridging the gap between self and other. Picture invisible threads of light connecting you to the people you love, a neural wireless network that transmits feeling. It is the intelligence of shared experience. You do not have to explain your pain or your joy to be understood. The brain is wired to feel what others feel. Visualize this web of empathy wrapping around the world, a reminder that isolation is an illusion. We are biologically constructed to resonate with one another. Let this feeling of connection warm you, the knowledge that your calm can soothe another and their peace can become yours, reflecting back and forth like light between two mirrors until the whole room is bright. From the snow, we drift to the humid, vibrant green of a tropical rainforest, where a master strategist stalks through the leaves. This is the Portia spider, a jumping spider that hunts other spiders. Its intelligence is distinct from the web weavers who wait passively. The Portia is a thinker, a planner. It possesses a vision superior to many mammals and a mind capable of trial and error. Picture the spider spotting its prey in a difficult location. It does not just charge, it pauses. It turns away, losing sight of the prey, to take a detour that might take an hour to navigate, holding a mental map of the prey's location in its mind the entire time. It plans ahead. If one tactic fails, like plucking the web to mimic a trapped insect, it tries another, learning and adapting its strategy in real time. Visualize this tiny creature sitting on a leaf, contemplating its next move. It is a meditation on the power of the pause. Intelligence is not always about speed. Often it's about stopping, assessing, and finding the path of least resistance. Imagine yourself as the strategist of your own rest, looking at the tangled web of your thoughts and choosing simply to walk around them, finding a quiet, indirect path to the center of peace. The detour is not a delay, it is the smarter way home. Leaving the jungle canopy, we slip back into the cool, buoyant embrace of the ocean, but this time we're greeted by a chorus of clicks and whistles. We're swimming alongside the dolphins, specifically the bottlenose, whose intelligence includes the invention of names. When a dolphin is born, it develops a unique signature whistle, a distinct melodic phrase that identifies it for the rest of its life. It is, in essence, its name. Picture a turquoise lagoon where these sleek silver beings glide through the water. They call out their own names to announce their presence and mimic the names of others to call them over. "I am here," they whistle. "Are you there?" It is a conversation of identity in the blue vastness. They remember these names for decades, recognizing old friends after 20 years of separation. Visualize the sound waves traveling through the water, clear and bright. This is the intelligence of social bonding, of knowing who you are and who your tribe is. It is a comforting thought that in the vast ocean of existence, you have a signature, a frequency that is yours alone, and there are others out there who know it and will answer when you call. Float in this sonic connection, feeling the water support you like a network of friends, holding you up effortlessly. The water recedes, and we find ourselves in a crisp, golden autumn wood, the ground littered with red and orange leaves. A grey squirrel scampers across a log, pausing to bury an acorn. This act seems simple, but it relies on a staggering feat of spatial memory. A single squirrel can bury thousands of nuts each season, scattering them across a territory that spans acres. It does not mark these spots with scent. It builds a high-resolution mental map of the forest. Months later, under a layer of snow, it can triangulate the exact location of a specific nut, using the geometry of the trees and landmarks. This is scatter hoarding, an investment in the future. Picture the squirrel's mind as a glowing star chart of the forest floor, each point of light a hidden treasure. It trusts its future self to find what it has hidden. This is the intelligence of preparation and trust, doing the work now to provide for the winter. It reminds us that we often possess resources we have forgotten about, hidden reserves of strength and calm buried deep within, waiting for us to uncover them when the season is cold. Visualize yourself unearthing a buried memory of pure relaxation, a nugget of peace you stored away long ago, and finding it still fresh, still nourishing. We shrink down now, smaller than the eye can see. diving into the microscopic world within the dark waters of the ocean at night. Here, we find the Hawaiian bobtail squid, a tiny creature that glows with the light of the stars. But the light does not come from the squid itself. It comes from the Vibrio fischeri bacteria living inside a special light organ in its mantle. These bacteria possess an intelligence called quorum sensing. A single bacterium is dark. It knows it is too small to make a light that matters, but they communicate chemically, counting their own numbers. When the population reaches a critical mass, a quorum, they all turn on their lights simultaneously. Picture this sudden unified ignition, a microscopic city lighting up all at once. The squid uses this light to match the moonlight coming from above, erasing its own shadow and hiding it from predators below. It is a partnership of light. This is the intelligence of community decision-making, the knowledge that we are brighter together than we are alone. Visualize your own cells, or perhaps your thoughts, as these tiny points of potential light. When you gather enough peaceful thoughts, enough moments of gratitude, they reach a critical mass, and suddenly the darkness vanishes, replaced by a soft, unified glow of contentment. Finally, as we drift deeper into the state of rest, we turn to the brain's own nightly ritual, a phenomenon that happens only when you're asleep. These are the sleep spindles, sudden short bursts of brain activity that look like tightly woven threads on an EEG scan. They are the weavers of memory. Picture your brain as a great loom in a quiet room. As you sleep, these spindles spin and weave, taking the loose threads of the day's learning, names, facts, motor skills, and binding them tightly into the tapestry of long-term memory. They move information from the temporary storage of the hippocampus to the permanent vault of the cortex. The more sleep spindles you have, the more you learn, the noisier the world can be without waking you. They are the guardians of your sleep, blocking out external sounds to keep you in the dream state. Visualize these golden shuttles flying back and forth in the loom of your mind, securing your memories, organizing your wisdom, and knitting a blanket of protection around your consciousness. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to try to remember. The spindles are working for you, weaving the fabric of your intelligence while you float in the soft, dark void. From the rhythmic weaving of the sleep spindles, we drift effortlessly toward the steady, rhythmic drumming of the chest, where a second, more ancient wisdom resides. We drift from the loom of the brain down the warm current of the blood to the heart itself. For centuries, poets claimed the heart could think, and now science confirms that they were right. Within the muscular walls of your heart, there is a complex cluster of 40,000 neurons, a little brain that works independently of the one in your head. Picture this glowing node of intelligence in the center of your chest, pulsing with its own logic. It senses, it feels, and it remembers. It sends more information to the brain than the brain sends to it, communicating through nerve impulses, hormones, and pressure waves. But perhaps most soothing is the electromagnetic field the heart generates, the largest of any organ in the body. It extends 3 feet outside your skin, a silent, invisible sphere of energy that interacts with the magnetic fields of those around you. When you're in a state of appreciation or love, this rhythm becomes coherent, a smooth, sin wave pattern that brings your entire nervous system into synchronization. Visualize this field expanding from your chest, a warm, golden bubble of coherence that touches the world without words. It is the intelligence of rhythm, the knowledge that before we ever had a thought, we had a beat. Rest in the certainty that your heart is wise, that it knows how to keep time, and that it is constantly broadcasting a signal of life and connection to the universe around you. The beat of the heart slows and transforms into the slow, hypnotic beat of wings, carrying us thousands of miles across the continent to the high-altitude forests of central Mexico. Here, the air is cool and thin, and the Oyamel fir trees are cloaked in a living tapestry of orange and black. We are witnessing the multi-generational intelligence of the monarch butterfly. This is a navigation system that defies the lifespan of the individual. The butterflies that leave Canada in the autumn are not the ones that return in the spring. It is their great-grandchildren who will find their way back to the exact same grove of trees, a place they have never seen. Picture a single butterfly, light as a whisper, navigating by the angle of the polarized sunlight and the magnetic pull of the earth. The map is not learned. It is written into the very genetic code, a memory passed down through blood and egg. It is a relay race of instinct. Imagine the profound trust this requires. To start a journey you will not finish, confident that your descendants will carry the torch to the sanctuary. Visualize the trees dripping with millions of dormant butterflies, clustered together for warmth, looking like autumn leaves that refuse to fall. It is the intelligence of heritage, a reminder that we are all part of a longer journey, guided by the wisdom of those who came before us, carried on the wings of an instinct that knows exactly where home is, even if we have never been there. From the orange-cloaked mountains we descend into a vast sun-drenched field in the height of summer, where the tall green stalks of sunflowers stand like an army of worshippers. These flowers possess a form of intelligence known as heliotropism, but their brilliance lies not just in following the sun but in anticipating it. Picture the field at dawn. The flowers are already facing east, waiting for the sun to rise. They do not merely react to the light. They know it is coming. They have an internal circadian clock, a biological rhythm that tracks the 24-hour cycle. During the day, they turn their heads slowly from east to west, drinking in the solar energy. But at night, in the dark silence, they perform a hidden movement, swinging their heads back from west to east, resetting themselves to be ready for the morning. Visualize this slow, nocturnal reset, a silent preparation in the dark. It is the intelligence of optimism. The sunflower trusts that the sun will rise again, and it positions itself to receive the very first ray of warmth. Let your own mind mimic this floral wisdom, turning away from the setting sun of the past and gently, blindly, orienting itself toward the horizon of tomorrow, knowing that light is inevitable and that you will be ready to receive it. We leave the fields and approach the glassy surface of a mangrove swamp, where the water is still and mirrors the overhanging branches. Here, lurking just beneath the surface, is the archerfish, a creature that has mastered the physics of light. To catch a beetle sitting on a leaf above the water, the fish must spit a jet of water with sniper-like precision. But there is a problem. Water bends light. The beetle is not actually where it appears to be to the fish looking up from below. The archerfish must perform a complex optical calculation in a split second, correcting for the refraction index of the water to aim at the beetle's true location, not its image. It must also account for gravity, the arc of the water jet, and the distance. Picture the fish locking its eyes on the target, its brain instantly solving a trigonometric equation that would take a human minutes to work out on paper. It fires, and the water strikes true. This ability is not just instinct, it is a learned skill that they practice and refine over time. Visualize the clarity of mind required to see through the distortion, to look past the illusion and strike at the reality. It is a lesson in perception, the ability to adjust our view, to understand that what we see is filtered through a medium, and to find the truth by accounting for the bend in the river of light. The ripples from the archerfish fade, and we find ourselves walking through a rolling emerald pasture in the Scottish Highlands. The air is cool and smells of rain and wool. A flock of sheep grazes peacefully, their soft coats blending with the clouds. We often underestimate them, yet sheep possess a highly sophisticated social intelligence, specifically in the realm of facial recognition. A sheep can remember the faces of 50 other sheep for over 2 years. They do not just see a herd, they see individuals, friends, rivals, family. More surprisingly, they can recognize human faces. Picture a sheep looking up from the grass, its rectangular pupil widening as it recognizes you. It knows you. If you show a sheep a photograph of a smiling human face and a frowning one, it will instinctively move toward the smile. They are drawn to happiness and gentleness. Visualize the comfort of being in a crowd where everyone knows you, a soft, woolly fraternity of memory. It is the intelligence of belonging. In the quiet munching of the grass, there is a web of recognition, a silent acknowledgement of identity that says, I know you, you're safe, you are one of us. Feel the softness of that acceptance, the simple pastoral peace of being remembered and welcomed without the need for words or performance. From the green hills, we slip into the cold, invigorating waters of the North Pacific coast, wrapping ourselves in a thick coat of fur. We are floating on our backs alongside the sea otter, the playful genius of the kelp forest. Their intelligence is tactile and tool-based. The otter is one of the few animals that uses tools, finding a perfect rock to use as an anvil for cracking open shellfish. But it goes deeper. They have a loose fold of skin under their armpit, a literal pocket. Picture the otter finding a favourite rock, a stone that fits perfectly in its paw, smooth and heavy. It does not discard this tool. It tucks it into its pocket, carrying it around for keeps. It values the object. This is an intelligence of preparation and cherishing. But the most relaxing image is how they sleep. To keep from drifting apart in the currents while they nap, sea otters hold hands. They float in rafts, tethered by touch, sometimes wrapping themselves in strands of kelp like a seatbelt. Visualize yourself floating weightlessly in the cold, clean ocean, warm in your skin, holding the hand of a loved one, anchored by the simple, intelligent act of connection. It is the wisdom of the drift, knowing that the ocean is big and the currents are strong, so we must hold on to what matters, keeping our tools in our pockets and our friends in our hands. We drift from the external ocean to the internal pharmacy of the human mind, exploring a phenomenon that baffles and amazes medical science, the placebo effect. This is the intelligence of belief. When you take a sugar pill believing it is a painkiller, your brain does not just pretend to feel better, it actually unlocks its own chemical cabinet. It releases real endorphins, real dopamine, and real natural opioids that physically lower your pain and slow your heart rate. Picture the brain as a master chemist, standing ready with every compound you could ever need, waiting only for the key of conviction. The moment you believe help is on the way, the healing begins. It is not a trick, it is a biological capability. The expectation of relief is enough to trigger the relief. Visualize this cascade of soothing chemicals washing over your nervous system, sparked not by a drug, but by a thought. It is a testament to the power of your own mind to regulate your reality. You possess a profound self-healing intelligence that responds to your mindset. Feel the gentle, warm wave of this internal power, realizing that you carry within you the ability to soothe your own edges simply by trusting that you can. The inner light of the mind projects outward now, manifesting as a soft yellow pulse in the humid air of a Southeast Asian riverbank. It is night, and the mangrove trees are filled with thousands of fireflies. In most places, fireflies flash randomly, a chaotic sparkling. But here, something miraculous happens. They possess the intelligence of synchronization. Mathematical order emerges from the chaos. One firefly flashes, then another adjusts its rhythm to match, and another, until the entire tree, the entire forest, is pulsing in perfect unison. On, off, a silent symphony of light. This is a phenomenon known as coupled oscillation. It is the intelligence of harmony, the drive to be in step with one another. Picture the darkness being pushed back by this collective heartbeat of light. It is hypnotic and overwhelmingly peaceful. There is no leader, no conductor, just a shared agreement to shine together. Visualize your own breathing synchronizing with this slow, rhythmic flash. Inhale as the light blooms, exhale as it fades into the velvet dark. It is the wisdom of the collective flow, a reminder that we are designed to find rhythm with one another, to dissolve our separation and become part of a single, breathing, glowing whole. The pulsing light fades into the stark, clean brightness of a laboratory, where we encounter a mind that perceives the world faster than we can even blink. This is the intelligence of the chimpanzee, specifically their eidetic or photographic memory. Picture a screen flashing a random pattern of numbers 1 through 9 for less than half a second. Before your human brain can even register that the numbers are there, they are covered by white squares. You are lost. But the chimp, with a casual tap of its finger, touches the white squares in perfect numerical order, 1 through 9. They possess instantaneous memory, a capability that allows them to capture a complete image of the world in a fraction of a second. It is a mind that does not dwell on the past or worry about the future. It is hyper-present. To perform this feat, the mind must be perfectly empty, like a still pond reflecting the moon. If the water is disturbed by a stray thought, the image is lost. Visualize this state of pure animal presence, a mind that is not cluttered with language or anxiety, but is a clear, high-resolution mirror of the present moment. Let your own mind attempt this stillness, clearing away the chatter until you are simply a witness, seeing the world exactly as it is, sharp, bright, and immediate. Finally, we return to the ocean, but this time to the warm, shallow waters of the Great Barrier Reef under the light of a full moon. Here, millions of individual coral polyps, which look like stones or plants but are actually animals, are waiting for a specific moment in time. They possess a calendar intelligence that is locked to the cosmos. Once a year, when the water temperature is just right and the moon is in a specific phase, the entire reef spawns simultaneously. It is the largest synchronized event in the natural world. Picture the water filling with pink and white clouds of life, a blizzard in the ocean, released in a silent, coordinated explosion. How do they know? They have primitive light sensors that can detect the dim light of the moon and the length of the night. They are tuning themselves to the celestial rhythm. It is a reminder that even the creatures we think of as immobile rocks are intimately connected to the movements of the solar system. Visualize yourself floating in this cloud of creation, suspended in the warm water, connected to the tidal pull of the moon. It is the intelligence of timing, of waiting for the perfect alignment of earth and sky before releasing your potential. Feel the water rocking you gently, a cradle rocked by the gravity of the moon, as the reef below whispers the secret of patience and cosmic timing. From the moonlit waters of the reef, we drift softly toward the rising mists of a snow-covered valley in the mountains of Japan, where the air is biting cold but the water is steaming hot. Here, amidst the ice and the silence, we find the Japanese macaque, a creature that has discovered the intelligence of culture and the profound wisdom of comfort. Picture a natural hot spring, a pool of turquoise water steaming against the stark white snow. Submerged up to their necks are the snow monkeys, their eyes closed in pure, unadulterated bliss. This behavior was not an instinct written in their DNA since the dawn of time. It was an invention, a cultural discovery made by a single female monkey named Tokiwa decades ago, who sought refuge from the cold. She taught it to her children, who taught it to their peers, and now it is a tradition passed down through generations. It is a testament to the intelligence of adaptability and the pursuit of well-being. But their culture runs deeper. Another female emo once discovered that washing sandy sweet potatoes in the river made them taste better. She didn't just eat the sand, she solved the problem. Visualize the steam rising from the water, coating the monkey's fur in tiny droplets of frost. They are not hunting, they are not fighting, they are simply existing in warmth, sharing a collective sigh of relief. It is a reminder that intelligence is not always about productivity. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is find a warm place, close your eyes, and soak in the comfort of the moment, letting the stress of the cold world melt away into the steam. As the steam drifts upward, it joins the clouds and carries us high into the atmosphere. where we encounter a master of the air who has solved the problem of rest in a way humans can only dream of. This is the alpine swift, or perhaps the frigate bird, creatures of the high wind who can stay airborne for months at a time without ever touching the ground. How do they rest? They possess the intelligence of unihemispheric sleep. Picture yourself soaring at 10,000 feet, supported entirely by a thermal updraft. You do not need to flap your wings, you just glide. In this state, the bird shuts down exactly one half of its brain. The left hemisphere goes into deep restorative sleep while the right hemisphere stays awake, keeping one eye open to navigate and watch for predators. After a time, they switch. It is a perfect equilibrium, a biological timeshare of consciousness. Visualize the sensation of being half awake and half asleep, floating on the wind, your body performing the necessary actions of flight on autopilot, while your mind visits the realm of dreams. It is the ultimate flow state, where doing and resting are not opposites, but are woven together in a seamless ribbon of flight. Feel the air beneath you, solid as a mattress, holding you up as you drift through the stratosphere, resting while you move, moving while you rest. We glide down from the high altitudes, dropping through the cloud layer until we break through the surface of a slow, warm river in Florida, where the water is thick with seagrass. Here, hovering like a submerged blimp, is the manatee. We often mistake their slowness for a lack of wit, but the manatee possesses a tactile intelligence that is unparalleled. They are covered not just in skin, but in thousands of sensitive vibrissae, whiskers that act like a full-body sense of touch. Imagine being able to feel an object without even touching it, simply by sensing the pressure wave the object pushes through the water. The manatee can navigate a dark, murky river by feeling the texture of the water itself. Every movement of a fish, every rock, every current paints a tactile 3D map on their skin. They are living sensors of their environment. Picture this gentle giant moving in slow motion, grazing on greens, unhurried and unbothered. They have no natural predators, so they have evolved no aggression, only curiosity. To be a manatee is to be in a state of constant, gentle embrace with the water. Visualize the feeling of the water pressing softly against every inch of your skin, holding you, telling you where you are. It is an intelligence of sensitivity, teaching us that if we slow down and feel the atmosphere around us, we can navigate the murkiest depths without ever needing to open our eyes. The slow river current carries us out to the lush, tropical floor of a New Guinea rainforest, where shafts of sunlight illuminate a clearing. Here, a small bird is engaged in an act of artistic genius. This is the bowerbird, the architect of the avian world. The male bird is building a structure, a bower, not to live in, but simply to be looked at. It is a gallery. But his intelligence goes beyond mere construction. He understands the complex principles of forced perspective, an optical illusion used by human Renaissance painters. He arranges rocks and shells outside his bower, placing the larger objects further away and the smaller ones closer. This trick of geometry makes the bower look larger and more imposing to the female when she stands in the viewing spot. He is curating a visual experience. He is also a master of colour theory, obsessively collecting blue objects, berries, beetle wings, plastic bottle caps, and arranging them in a gradient. If you move one blue shell out of place, he will meticulously put it back. Picture him stepping back, tilting his head, assessing his work with the critical eye of an artist. It is a profound realization that the drive to create beauty, to organize chaos into order and symmetry, is not unique to humans. It is a fundamental impulse of life. Visualize your own mind as a bower, where you can gently arrange your thoughts, sorting them by color and size, creating a pleasing, orderly space where you can sit and admire the structure of your own piece. Leaving the forest floor, we turn our attention inward to the intricate machinery of the human body, specifically the base of the brain, where a structure resembling a tightly wound cauliflower resides. This is the cerebellum, the little brain, the seat of unconscious competence. This is the intelligence of the pianist whose fingers fly across the keys without looking, or the typist who knows where the letters are by the feeling of distance alone. It is the home of muscle memory. When you first learn a skill, your conscious brain is loud, clumsy, and exhausted. But as you practice, the knowledge flows downward, settling into the cerebellum. It becomes automatic. It becomes graceful. Picture a concert pianist in the middle of a rhapsody. She's not thinking about the notes. If she thought about them, she would stumble. She has surrendered control to the intelligence of her hands. Her body knows the music better than her mind does. This is the state of wu wei, or effortless action. Visualize the relief of handing over the controls, of trusting that your body knows how to breathe, how to walk, how to be. You do not need to micromanage your existence. There is a deep, ancient wisdom in your cells that knows exactly what to do. Let yourself sink into that automatic rhythm, the smooth, effortless glide of a life well practiced, played beautifully without a single conscious thought. The music of the piano fades into the chirping of the wind on the high prairies of North America. Here, standing sentinel at the mouth of a burrow is a prairie dog. To the untrained ear, their calls are just squeaks. But researchers have discovered that these small creatures possess one of the most sophisticated languages in the animal kingdom. Their chirps are not generic alarms, they are descriptive sentences. They do not just say, predator. They can chirp a specific pattern that translates to tall human in a blue shirt walking slowly, and a completely different pattern for short human in a yellow shirt moving fast. They have adjectives, they have nouns. They can describe the colour, size, shape, and speed of an intruder, encoding all that information into a single burst of sound that takes a fraction of a second. Picture the prairie dog standing tall, communicating with precision to its community. It is a language of survival, a way of seeing the world in high definition and sharing that vision with others. Visualize the complexity of this chatter, a hidden layer of conversation happening in the grass. It is a reminder that the world is speaking all the time, in languages we're only just beginning to decipher. Let this knowledge expand your sense of awareness, realizing that intelligence is present in the smallest of voices, and that even in the open emptiness of the plains, there is a rich, descriptive dialogue taking place. We dive from the dry prairie into the deep pelagic blue of the open ocean, where a shadow glides beneath us like a submerged spacecraft. It is the manta ray, a creature with a wingspan of 20 feet and the largest brain-to-body ratio of any fish. For a long time, we thought fish were simple automata, but the manta ray has passed the mirror test, the gold standard of self-awareness. When placed in front of a mirror, it does not attack the reflection as a rival. It stops, it watches, it blows bubbles and watches the bubbles in the reflection. It tilts its wings to see the underside of its own body. It recognizes, that is me. Picture this massive, majestic animal floating in the silence of the deep, staring into a reflective surface and having an existential realization. I exist. It is a silent underwater philosophy. The manta is not just reacting to the ocean. It is aware of itself as a distinct entity within it. Visualize the slow, graceful loop-the-loop of the ray, a dance of self-appreciation. Imagine yourself floating beside it, looking into a mirror of water and seeing yourself not with judgment, but with the same curiosity and acceptance. You are here. You are real. You are a graceful floating being in the vast universe. Acknowledge your own existence with a slow, gentle wave of your mental wings and drift on. Surfacing from the deep, we find ourselves hovering over a still pond in the heat of a summer afternoon. Darting and stopping in midair is the dragonfly. This ancient creature, which has been flying since before the dinosaurs, possesses an intelligence of high-speed prediction. Humans track objects by following them. If a ball is thrown, we watch the ball. But the dragonfly hunts by interception. When it sees a mosquito, its brain calculates the prey's speed, trajectory, and the wind direction instantly. It does not fly to where the mosquito is. It flies to where the mosquito will be. It projects the future. This requires a processing speed that makes our brains look like slow-motion film. To a dragonfly, we move in sluggish molasses. They have a success rate of 95%, the most efficient hunters in nature. Picture the world through their multifaceted eyes, a grid of thousands of lenses creating a mosaic of motion. They exist in a state of hyperfocus, a calm centre within the speed. Visualize this ability to intercept your own peace. Do not chase after relaxation. Simply predict where it will be, in the stillness of your breath, in the softness of the bed, and go there, waiting for the moment to arrive. It is the intelligence of focus, of cutting through the noise to arrive at the exact point of contact with the present moment. We move from the pond to the high canopy of the Southeast Asian jungle, where the leaves form a green ceiling against the sky. Here, the gibbons are moving. They are the masters of brachiation, swinging from arm to arm. This is a kinetic intelligence, a genius of physics and momentum. A gibbon launches itself across a 20-foot gap, releasing one branch before it has even touched the next. For a moment it is flying. Its brain is performing split-second calculus, assessing the strength of the branch, the distance of the gap, the weight of its own body, and the arc of the swing. If it miscalculates, it falls. But it doesn't fall, it flows. It treats gravity not as an enemy, but as a partner, using the fall to generate the speed for the next rise. Picture this fluid motion, a continuous sine wave of biological energy through the trees. They do not muscle their way through the forest, they swing with it. Visualize your own thoughts like a gibbon swinging through the trees. Do not hold on too tight to any single thought. Grab it, use it to propel yourself forward, and then let it go to catch the next one. There is a rhythm to it, a freedom in the release. Feel the sensation of weightlessness at the top of the arc, that split second of total freedom before you catch the next moment. It is the joy of motion, the intelligence of letting go. From the high canopy, we descend and travel inward, through the nasal passages to a small bulbous structure located right at the front of the brain, just above the eyes. This is the olfactory bulb. Of all our senses, smell is the only one that does not make a stop at the thalamus, the brain's relay station for processing. It has a VIP pass directly to the amygdala and the hippocampus, the centres of emotion and memory. This is the intelligence of association. It is why the smell of rain on hot asphalt can instantly transport you back 20 years to a childhood summer, faster than any photograph or sound. It bypasses logic. It bypasses language. It hits the raw nerve of memory. Picture a library of scents stored in your mind, the dust of an old book, the zest of a peeled orange, the salt of the ocean, the lavender on your pillow. These are keys that unlock entire rooms of your past. Visualize the molecules of scent drifting through the air, tiny chemical messengers carrying time capsules. This system allows you to time travel. It allows you to feel safe instantly when you smell a familiar, comforting scent. Breathe in slowly now and imagine the scent of absolute peace. Perhaps it is vanilla or pine or clean linen. Let that scent bypass your thinking mind and go straight to your heart, triggering a physiological release of tension, an ancient chemical command to rest. From the nostalgic pathways of the olfactory bulb, we drift effortlessly toward the deep, shifting shadows of the ocean floor, where the concept of language is reinvented not through sound, but through living colour. Here, hovering over the sandy seabed, is the cuttlefish. It is a cousin to the octopus, but its intelligence is displayed on the canvas of its own skin. Picture a creature that is a living television screen, possessing millions of pigment cells called chromatophores, each controlled by a tiny muscle attached to a nerve. By flexing these muscles, the cuttlefish can change its pattern, texture, and colour in milliseconds, faster than you can blink. But this is not just camouflage. it is conversation. They can project moving waves of stripes down their bodies, hypnotic pulses that look like passing clouds or interfering radio waves. Imagine the sensation of your thoughts appearing instantly on your skin, your emotions manifesting as colours before you even speak them. Two cuttlefish can settle a dispute without touching, simply by flashing intense patterns at one another, a debate of light. They can even split their communication, showing a friendly pattern on the left side of their body to a mate, while showing an aggressive warning pattern on the right side to a rival. It is a multitasking intelligence of the highest order. Visualize this fluid, rippling display of brilliance, a mind that wears its thoughts like a shimmering coat of many colours. Let yourself be mesmerized by the rhythmic pulsing of their skin, a silent, hypnotic light show that lulls the ocean and you into a trance of pure, visual wonder. The visual waves of the cuttlefish fade into the gentle, rhythmic lapping of water against wood, carrying us to the edge of a quiet, engineered pond in the Canadian wilderness. Here, we witness the architectural genius of the beaver. We often think of their dams as simple piles of sticks, but they are precise feats of hydrological engineering. The beaver's intelligence is triggered by a specific sensory input, the sound of running water. If a beaver hears a leak, a trickle, or a rush, it is compelled to stop it. They are the guardians of the stillness. Picture the beaver diving into the cool mud, retrieving stones and timber to plug the gap, guided by the acoustic landscape of the stream. They dig canals extending hundreds of feet into the forest, filling them with water to float heavy logs back to the lodge, a perfect understanding of buoyancy and friction. They build their lodges with underwater entrances to keep out predators and include a ventilation shaft at the top for fresh air. Visualize the profound stillness of a beaver pond at dusk, the water acting as a mirror for the pine trees. This stillness is a manufactured peace, created by an animal that understands how to slow down the flow of the world, how to catch the water and hold it, creating a sanctuary for itself and countless other species. Let your mind build its own dam against the rushing noise of the day, placing stick after stick until the flow stops, leaving you in a deep, quiet pool of reflection. From the quiet pond, we follow a sweet, sugary scent into the dry bushlands of Africa, where a small, unassuming bird flits between the acacia trees. This is the greater honey guide, and its intelligence lies in its ability to negotiate a business deal with a completely different species, humans. For thousands of years, this bird has guided the Brahma people to hidden beehives high in the hollows of trees. Picture the scene. The bird calls out with a specific chattering song, a sound it uses only for this purpose. The human hunter whistles back, a special call passed down through generations. The bird flies from tree to tree, waiting for the human to catch up, checking back to ensure it is being followed. When they reach the hive, the bird falls silent. The human uses smoke to subdue the bees and harvest the honey, always leaving a portion of the wax and larvae behind as a payment for the bird. It is a perfect symbiosis, a cross-species contract based on trust and mutual benefit. Visualize this ancient partnership, a thread of communication connecting the sky and the earth. It reminds us that we do not have to find the sweetness of life alone. There are guides waiting for us, intelligences that speak a different language but share the same goal. Trust that if you listen closely to the subtle signals around you, you will be led to the nourishment you seek. The buzzing of the bees softens into the gentle rhythmic breathing of a sleeping flock. We transport ourselves to a cozy nest lined with down, where a zebra finch is fast asleep. We often wonder what animals dream of, and for the zebra finch, we know the answer. They dream of music. These birds learn their songs from their fathers, a complex melody that takes time to master. When researchers look at the brains of sleeping finches, they see the exact same neurons firing in the exact same order as when the bird is singing awake. They are rehearsing. Picture the tiny bird, eyes closed, its chest rising and falling, while in the silent theatre of its mind it is singing its song perfectly, over and over again. It is offline processing, the intelligence of consolidation. The brain is taking the struggle of the day's practice and smoothing it out, weaving the notes into a seamless melody during the safety of sleep. This is why you often wake up better at a task than you were the night before. Visualize your own brain doing this work right now. You do not need to strive or push. As you drift into the dark, your mind is gently rehearsing the skills of peace, practicing the art of relaxation, so that when you wake, the song of your life will flow a little more sweetly, a little more effortlessly. From the internal song of the finch, we shift our awareness to the silent, invisible map that exists within your own physical form. This is the intelligence of proprioception, often called the sixth sense. It is the reason you can touch your nose with your eyes closed. It is the reason you know where your feet are without looking at the floor. Deep within your muscles, tendons, and joints are millions of microscopic sensors called muscle spindles and Golgi tendon organs. They're constantly sending reports to your brain about the angle, tension, and position of your body in space. Picture a 3D avatar of yourself glowing within your mind, a perfect digital twin that updates in real time. This system allows you to navigate the dark, to walk without watching your legs, to exist as a coordinated whole. It is a grounding intelligence, a constant reminder of "I am here." Visualize this sense as a golden tether anchoring your consciousness to your physical vessel. You're not floating aimlessly, you're housed, you're located, you're held together by a web of sensory knowledge. Feel the weight of your limbs on the bed, the position of your fingers, the curve of your spine. This is your body knowing itself, a deep somatic assurance that you are whole, you are present, and you are safe in your own skin. We drift from the unity of the body to the rugged, wind-swept surface of a granite boulder in the Arctic tundra. Here, clinging to the rock in splashes of orange and pale green, is lichen. We look at it and see one thing, but it is actually a marriage of two distinct intelligences, a fungus and an algae, or sometimes a cyanobacteria. They have merged so completely that they cannot survive alone. The fungus builds the house, a structure of filaments that provides shelter, holds moisture, and anchors them to the rock. The algae lives inside this house and pays rent by photosynthesizing, turning sunlight into sugar to feed the fungus. It is a relationship of perfect balance, evolved over millions of years. They have become a composite organism, capable of living in environments where neither could survive on their own, from the freezing poles to the vacuum of space. Picture this microscopic embrace, two beings wrapping around each other to withstand the elements. It is the intelligence of cooperation over competition. It teaches us that strength often comes from leaning on another, from finding the partner who provides what you lack. Visualize the resilience of the lichen, patient and enduring, living on the bare stone, fed by light and shelter, a testament to the power of coming together to create a life that is more than the sum of its parts. The stark stone fades into the grey concrete of a bustling city intersection, where the traffic lights blink red, amber and green. Perched on a street lamp watching the flow of steel and rubber is the carrion crow. These urban birds have unlocked the intelligence of the built environment. In cities across Japan and elsewhere, crows have been observed using cars as nutcrackers. The walnut shells are too hard for their beaks, so the crow waits. When the traffic light turns red for the cars, the crow flies down and places the nut in front of the tyre of a waiting vehicle. It flies back up. The light turns green, the car moves forward, and crack. But the true genius is what happens next. The crow does not dive immediately. It waits for the pedestrian walk signal, the green man. It understands that when the little green man lights up, the cars will stop, and it is safe to retrieve the kernel. Picture the bird watching the lights, decoding the arbitrary colour signals of human law. It has hacked our system. It is a flexible, observant intelligence that turns a dangerous environment into a tool. Visualize this adaptability. the ability to look at the chaotic, rushing traffic of life and find the rhythm, the pauses, the safe moments to swoop down and claim your prize. It is the wisdom of timing, of using the momentum of the world to crack open the problems you cannot solve alone. We move from the macro world of the city to the microscopic universe within a single one of your cells. Floating in the cytoplasm are tiny bean-shaped structures called mitochondria. They are the power plants of your existence, but their story is one of ancient alien intelligence. Billions of years ago, the mitochondrion was a separate, free-living bacteria. It was swallowed by a larger cell, but instead of being digested, it struck a deal. It stayed. It has its own DNA, separate from yours. It is a guest that has been living in your family tree since the dawn of complex life. These tiny entities are responsible for generating ATP, the chemical energy that powers every thought, every heartbeat, every breath you take. Picture them as billions of tiny glowing hearth fires, burning quietly in every room of your body's mansion. They are sensitive to your needs. When you exercise, they multiply, creating more energy. When you fast, they repair themselves. This is the intelligence of symbiosis at the most fundamental level. You're not just one being, you're a colony, a galaxy of cooperation. Visualize the warm, steady hum of these microscopic engines, burning the fuel of the universe to keep your light shining. Feel a wave of gratitude for these ancient passengers, the keepers of the flame, who work tirelessly in the dark so that you may live and dream. The internal fire of the cell cools into the crystal-clear, sun-dappled waters of a tropical coral reef. Here, at a specific station on a coral head, a long line of fish has formed. Parrotfish, surgeonfish, even sharks, waiting patiently in a queue. They are here to see the cleaner rasa, a small striped fish that runs the ocean's most vital service industry. The rasa eats the parasites and dead skin off the client fish. It is a dentist, a doctor, and a spa therapist all in one. But the intelligence here is social and economic. The wrasse knows who the locals are and who the visitors are. If a visitor fish, who might never come back, arrives, the wrasse will interrupt its work on a local fish to serve the visitor first, knowing the local will wait. It manages its clientele. It even gives massages by fluttering its fins against the client's side to apologize if it accidentally bites too hard. Picture the shark opening its terrifying jaws, allowing the tiny wrasse to swim safely inside to clean its teeth. It is a suspension of the laws of predator and prey, replaced by the laws of mutual aid. Visualize the soothing sensation of being groomed, of having the burdens and parasites of the day gently picked away by a caring professional. It is the intelligence of care, the understanding that everyone, even the most powerful, needs help to be clean and whole. As the reef fades into the deep blue, we return once more to the garden of the human brain. But this time we observe a process not of growth, but of reduction. This is the intelligence of synaptic pruning. When you're a child, your brain is a jungle of connections, wild and overgrown. But as you mature, the brain begins to act as a master gardener. It observes which neural pathways you use and which you do not. The roads less travelled are quietly dismantled. Special cells called microglia move through the brain like silent sweepers, trimming away the weak synapses to make room for the strong ones to function faster and more efficiently. This is the wisdom of forgetting. To be smart, to be quick, to be calm, you cannot hold on to everything. You must let go of the noise to hear the signal. Picture a rosebush being pruned in the winter, the dead wood cut away so that the spring blooms can be vibrant and full. Visualize this process happening now as you sleep. The gentle unhooking of trivial worries, the fading of useless facts, the clearing of the mental clutter. It is a benevolent subtraction. Feel the relief of this lightening, the space opening up within your mind, leaving behind only what is essential, strong, and true. You're being refined, you're being simplified, you're being prepared for a clearer, brighter dawn. From the clean, open spaces of the pruned mind, we drift softly toward the cool, pristine silence of a winter sky. where the atmosphere itself begins to think in geometry. We drift from the internal gardening of the brain to the external crystallization of the clouds. Here, in the freezing upper air, we witness the intelligence of water, the snowflake. It begins as a speck of dust, a tiny imperfection that water vapor clings to. As it falls through layers of varying humidity and temperature, it solves a complex spatial equation branching out into a hexagonal lattice. This is not random. It is the physical manifestation of molecular logic. Water molecules align themselves at specific angles, 104.5 degrees, creating the six-sided symmetry we know so well. But the intelligence lies in the uniqueness of the journey. Because no two flakes follow the exact same path through the chaotic turbulence of the sky, no two flakes solve the equation in exactly the same way. Picture a single snowflake drifting down towards you, a perfect transient cathedral of ice. It is a record of its own history, a map of the storm it survived. Visualize the silence of the snow falling, each flake a quiet thought form, stacking gently on the ground to create a blanket of pure white noise. It is the wisdom of self-organization, the ability of chaos to arrange itself into perfect order without a leader, simply by following the inherent laws of its own nature. Let your thoughts settle like this snow, cool, distinct, and forming a soft, protective layer over the resting earth of your mind. From the delicate texture of the snowflake, we drift to the warm, soft fur of the eucalyptus forests in Australia, where we encounter a tactile mystery that blurs the line between human and animal. Clinging to the rough bark of a gum tree is the koala. While it may seem like a simple creature, dozing for 20 hours a day, its hands tell a different story. If you were to look closely at the fingertips of a koala, you would see whorls, loops, and arches that are nearly identical to your own. In fact, koala fingerprints are so similar to human fingerprints that even expert crime scene investigators have had trouble telling them apart under a microscope. This is the intelligence of convergent evolution, the idea that nature, when faced with the problem of grasping and sensing texture, arrived at the exact same solution for us as it did for the marsupial. Picture the koala's hand pressing firmly against the tree, the ridges of its skin sensing the friction, the temperature, and the grip. It is a reminder that we are not separate from the animal kingdom. We share the same design, the same sensitive touch. Visualize your own hands resting by your sides, the unique map of your identity etched into your skin. Feel the connection to the ancient tree-dwelling ancestors, the shared biological wisdom that allows us to hold on to what we need. Relax your fingers, letting the tension uncurl, knowing that your hands have done enough grasping for today. The sensation of touch fades into a deep, vibrating rumble that resonates in the chest, carrying us to a sunlit windowsill where a house cat is curled in a ball. We often dismiss the purr as a simple sign of happiness, but it is actually a sophisticated form of biomechanical healing. A cat's purr vibrates within a specific frequency range, between 20 and 140 Hz. Science has discovered that sound frequencies in exactly this range promote bone density, repair tendons, and accelerate the healing of wounds. The cat is not just expressing contentment, it is performing a self-healing ritual. It is a living ultrasound machine. When a cat is injured or stressed, it purrs to knit its own body back together. Picture this warm, vibrating weight resting against you, the sound travelling through your skin and into your bones, loosening the knots of stress. It is a somatic intelligence, a knowledge held in the throat and the diaphragm that sound is medicine. Visualize a golden frequency humming through your own body, a low-frequency wave that mends the microtears of the day, knitting your spirit back into a cohesive whole. Allow yourself to hum internally, a low, quiet drone of peace, vibrating at the frequency of pure restoration. The low rumble of the purr transforms into the rushing wind of the high atmosphere, where we join a flock of geese on their long migration south. We look up and see the iconic V formation, a shape written against the grey sky. This is not merely about staying together, it is a lesson in aerodynamic efficiency and altruistic leadership. The bird at the front works the hardest, cutting through the wall of air resistance. As it flaps, it creates a rotating vortex of air off its wingtips, an updraft. The bird behind it positions itself perfectly in this updraft, getting a free lift. By flying in this formation, the flock adds 70% to their flight range compared to a bird flying alone. But the true intelligence is in the rotation. When the leader gets tired, it does not stop. It simply drifts back into the formation to rest in the draft of another, and a new bird flies up to take the point. Picture this seamless changing of the guard, a fluid dance of shared burden. It is the intelligence of community support. No one has to carry the weight of the wind forever. Visualize yourself falling back into the draft, letting the strength of others, or the strength of the universe, carry you for a while. You do not always have to be at the front. You can rest your wings and let the updraft lift you, gliding effortlessly on the energy created by the collective. We glide down from the sky and skim the surface of a Japanese river, watching a flash of iridescent blue dive into the water with barely a splash. This is the kingfisher, and its beak is the inspiration for one of humanity's greatest engineering feats. When the high-speed bullet train, the Shinkansen, used to exit a tunnel, it pushed a wall of air ahead of it, creating a sonic boom that woke up neighborhoods for miles. Engineers looked to the kingfisher for a solution. The bird moves from low-resistance air to high-resistance water without creating a ripple. Its beak is a long, tapered wedge that parts the medium smoothly rather than pushing it. By redesigning the nose of the train to mimic the kingfisher's beak, the engineers silenced the boom, increased speed, and saved energy. This is the intelligence of biomimicry, the humble admission that nature has already solved the problems we are trying to fix. Picture the sleek, silent entry of the bird into the water, a movement of pure grace and efficiency. It does not fight the water, it slips through it. Visualize your own mind entering the state of sleep with the same hydrodynamic smoothness. Do not crash into sleep, glide into it. Let your thoughts taper to a fine point, parting the heavy curtain of drowsiness without a sound, slipping deep into the pool of dreams without making a ripple. We sink deeper into that pool, descending into the prehistoric depths of the ocean, where we find a creature that has been carrying a mathematical secret for 500 million years. This is the nautilus, a cephalopod living in a spiral shell. As the nautilus grows, it builds new, larger chambers to inhabit, sealing off the old ones behind it. The proportions of this spiral often approximate the golden ratio, phi, a geometric sequence that human artists and mathematicians consider the epitome of beauty and balance. It is a logarithmic spiral that grows outwardly without changing its shape. Picture this perfect pearlescent curve spinning into infinity, a shape found in galaxies, in hurricanes, and in the cochlea of your inner ear. The nautilus uses the old empty chambers as ballast tanks, filling them with gas or water to control its buoyancy, rising and sinking with the rhythm of the day. It is the intelligence of ancient geometry, a reminder that there is a fundamental order to the universe, a blueprint of beauty that exists regardless of whether we notice it. Visualize yourself traveling inward along the curve of the spiral, moving from the wide, open world of the exterior into the tight, cozy center of the shell. It is a journey to the origin, to the quiet, mathematical center of your being where everything is balanced and still. Drifting near the nautilus, we encounter a tiny, translucent bell pulsing in the dark water. This is the Turritopsis dohrnii, known as the immortal jellyfish. In a world where every living thing moves from birth to death, this creature has found a loophole. When it becomes sick, injured or old, it does not die. Instead, it sinks to the ocean floor and folds in on itself. It reabsorbs its tentacles and transforms its cells, undergoing a process called transdifferentiation. A muscle cell can become a nerve cell, a skin cell can become an egg. It reverts back to its juvenile polyp stage, essentially being born again. It hits the biological reset button. It can do this indefinitely. Picture this cycle of endless renewal, a creature that flows backward through time to start over. It is the intelligence of fluidity, the refusal to accept the linear end. While we cannot reverse our age, we can borrow this wisdom for our minds. Visualize the ability to dissolve your current state, your worries, your identity, your tiredness, and melt back into the primal potential energy of the beginning. Sleep is your cocoon of transdifferentiation. You're sinking to the bottom of the night to reabsorb your stress, to reset your cells, and to rise in the morning new, fresh, and born again. From the liquid immortality of the jellyfish, we move to the lush green floor of a tropical garden, where a small fern-like plant grows low to the ground. This is the Mimosa pudica, often called the sensitive plant. Its intelligence is one of reflex and memory. If you touch its leaves, they instantly fold inward, drooping as if wilted to protect themselves from harm. It is a shy reaction, but researchers found something profound. If they dropped the plant gently from a small height, it would close its leaves in panic. But if they did it again and again and again, the plant realized it was not being hurt. It stopped closing. It learned. It habituated. Even weeks later, it remembered that the drop was safe and kept its leaves open. This is the intelligence of discernment, learning what is a true threat and what is just the wind. It is a primitive form of memory without a brain. Picture the delicate green leaves staying open, confident and relaxed, even as the world shakes around them. Visualize your own nervous system learning this lesson. You have reacted to stress, to noise, to worry, closing yourself off like the mimosa. But here, in this safe bed, you can learn that there is no danger. You can uncurl. You can let your leaves spread wide to catch the moonlight. You can trust the safety of this moment, keeping your heart open and your breath slow, knowing that you do not need to hide. From the fast reflex of the mimosa, we travel to the canopy of the South American rainforest to witness the genius of extreme slowness. Hanging upside down from a branch is the three-toed sloth. We mock the sloth for its lethargy, but its slowness is a brilliant survival strategy. By moving so slowly, it becomes invisible to predators like jaguars and eagles, who are wired to detect sudden movement. The sloth moves at the pace of the growth of the trees. Its fur is grooved to allow algae to grow on it, turning the sloth green, a living ghillie suit. Its metabolism is so efficient that it takes a month to digest a single leaf. It has hacked the energy equation of life by simply refusing to rush. It is the intelligence of efficiency. It does not burn out, it endures. Picture this mossy, contented creature moving in ultra-slow motion, reaching for a branch with the deliberation of a Tai Chi master. Time means nothing here. Visualize yourself adopting the pace of the sloth. Why rush to sleep? Why rush to relax? Simply be. Let your breath slow down to match the metabolic rate of the trees. Let the moss of silence grow over your thoughts. There is nowhere to go and nothing to chase. In this slowness, you are safe, camouflaged by the night, suspended in a state of perfect suspended grace. Finally, we turn the lens back onto the very mechanism that allows you to see this world. Your own eyes. Every time you move your eyes from one point to another, from the window to the door, from this word to the next, your eyes are actually blind for a split second. This rapid movement is called a saccade. If your brain didn't intervene, your vision would be a dizzying, blurry smear of motion, like a camera whipped around too fast. But your brain possesses the intelligence of the editor. During that split second of movement, your brain cuts the feed. It engages in saccadic masking, erasing the blur and stitching the two clear images together so seamlessly that you perceive a continuous, stable world. You're legally blind for about 40 minutes every day, just in these tiny gaps, but your mind fills in the blanks with a smooth reality. Picture your brain as a master filmmaker, editing the raw footage of your life in real time to give you a story that makes sense, a story that is steady. It creates continuity out of chaos. Visualize this editing process softening now. You no longer need to stitch the world together. You can let the scene fade to black. You can stop the projector. The editor can put down the scissors and rest. Let the images blur, let the continuity break, and drift into the peaceful, unedited static of the deep mind, where no pictures are needed, only the feeling of floating in the dark. From the dark, velvet editing room of the mind, we drift effortlessly toward the vast, glittering expanse of the Milky Way, stretching like a river of diamond dust across the midnight sky. Here, on the cooling sands of the Kalahari Desert, we find a humble creature that looks to the heavens for guidance in a way no other animal does. This is the dung beetle. While its task seems lowly, rolling a ball of sustenance across the uneven earth, its mind is locked onto the cosmos. When the beetle climbs atop its sphere and performs a dance turning in circles, it is not merely celebrating, it is taking a celestial reading. It cannot see the individual stars with its compound eyes, but it can see the bright stripe of the galaxy itself. It uses the Milky Way as a compass to navigate in a perfectly straight line, ensuring it does not circle back to the competitors at the dung pile. Picture this tiny silhouette against the backdrop of infinity, rolling its burden with absolute precision, guided by the light of billions of distant suns. It is a profound connection between the microscopic and the macroscopic. Visualize the cool desert night, the silence of the dunes, and the starlight guiding you. It is the intelligence of orientation, the knowledge that even when our heads are bowed to the work of the earth, our path is steered by the light of the stars. Feel the stability of that straight line, moving you away from the chaos and into the open, quiet space of your own destiny. From the silent signals of the stars, we descend into the shadows of a garden corner, where a masterpiece of engineering hangs suspended in the dark. This is the orb weaver spider, and she is sitting at the centre of a web that is not just a trap, but an extension of her own mind. We often think of the web as a dead structure, but to the spider, it is a sensory organ. She tunes the strands like the strings of a harp, tightening some and loosening others to adjust their tension. By sitting at the hub and placing her legs on the radial threads, she can feel the vibration of an insect landing feet away. But the intelligence goes deeper. She can distinguish the frequency of the vibration. She knows the difference between the terrified buzz of a trapped fly and the dangerous frequency of a predatory wasp, or the romantic strumming of a male suitor. She reads the music of the silk. Picture this silver lattice trembling in the moonlight, a net of awareness that expands her consciousness far beyond her own body. Visualize yourself sitting at the center of your own web of life, sensitive to every tremor but perfectly still. You do not need to run around to know what is happening. You simply need to stay connected, listening to the subtle vibrations of the world, filtering out the noise and responding only to the signals that bring sustenance or love. The silk of the web dissolves into the delicate glassy lattice of the deep ocean, thousands of feet beneath the surface. Here, in the crushing dark, lives the Venus flower basket, a glass sponge that is a marvel of fibre optic engineering. It builds a skeleton out of silica, pure glass, extracted from the seawater. The structure is an intricate cylindrical cage of lace, so complex and resistant to stress that human engineers study it to design safer skyscrapers. But the sponge possesses a brilliance of light. At the base of the sponge, tufts of glass fibres anchor it to the mud. These fibres are natural fibre optic cables, transmitting light from the bioluminescent creatures above down into the darkness of the sponge's body, illuminating it like a glowing lamp in the abyss. This light attracts tiny symbionts to live inside the glass cage, feeding the sponge. Picture this fragile, beautiful cathedral of glass glowing softly in the eternal night, a beacon of structure and light in the void. It is the intelligence of structure, the ability to build a life that is both incredibly strong and beautifully transparent, channeling the light from above to warm the depths below. Visualize your own mind as this crystal lattice, clear and open, letting the light of understanding filter down into the deepest, quietest parts of your subconscious. The glow of the sponge fades into the echoless velvet of a limestone cave, where the air is alive with a sound too high for us to hear. We are flying with the bats, masters of the acoustic landscape. Their intelligence is the ability to paint the world with sound. When a bat shrieks, it is not just making noise, it is sending out a probe. The sound waves hit a moth, a tree, a stalactite, and bounce back. The bat's brain analyzes the returning echoes to determine the distance, texture, and speed of the object. But it is more than just radar. It is a texture map. A bat can hear the difference between the fuzzy echo of a moth's wing and the smooth echo of a beetle's shell. They can perceive the world in total darkness, with a precision that rivals our vision in broad daylight. Picture the air around you filled with these invisible ripples, a landscape revealing itself not through light, but through resonance. It is the intelligence of listening, of sending out your energy and waiting for the reflection to tell you where you stand. Visualize the comfort of this dark navigation, knowing that you do not need to see the path to know it is there. You can feel the shape of the room, the shape of the night, simply by listening to the way the silence bounces back to you. We leave the cave and settle into the cool, damp earth of a riverbank, burying ourselves in the mud. Here, we encounter the patient genius of the lotus seed. Some seeds are built for speed, sprouting the moment they touch water. But the lotus possesses the intelligence of dormancy. It has a hard, impermeable coat that seals its embryo in a time capsule. It waits. It monitors the temperature, the moisture, and the oxygen levels, sometimes for 1,000 years. Scientists have germinated lotus seeds found in ancient lake beds that were 100–300 years old, and they bloomed as beautifully as if they had fallen yesterday. This is the wisdom of the pause. The seed knows that it has only one chance to sprout, and it refuses to waste its life on a harsh season. It waits for the perfect moment. Picture this tiny, sleeping potential curled up in the mud, completely protected, completely at peace with the passage of centuries. It is not dead. It is waiting. Visualize your own potential for peace as this seed. It does not matter how long you have been tired or how long you have felt buried. The spark is still there, protected and viable, waiting for the right conditions to unfurl. Rest in the certainty that nothing is ever lost, only waiting for its season to bloom. From the mud, we rise into the cool blue twilight of the northern hemisphere, joining a European robin on its migration. We know birds navigate by magnetic fields, but the robin's method is a feat of quantum physics. Inside the bird's eye, in the retina, is a protein called cryptochrome. When blue light hits this protein, it creates a pair of radical molecules that are quantumly entangled, linked across space in a way that Einstein called spooky action at a distance. These molecules are sensitive to the Earth's magnetic field. As the bird flies, the magnetic field affects the chemical reaction, creating a visual overlay on the bird's vision. The robin literally sees the magnetic field as a band of light or colour superimposed on the landscape. It is navigating by looking at the quantum structure of the planet. Picture the world through these eyes. The trees and hills are there, but so is a glowing ethereal pathway guiding you north. It is the intelligence of the invisible made visible. Visualize the magnetic lines of the earth flowing through the room where you lie, a gentle protective grid of energy that holds the planet together. You are aligned with it. You are part of this great silent field. Let it pull you gently towards the center of your rest, a compass needle settling perfectly into true north. The blue quantum light fades into the humid green shadows of the Amazon rainforest, where the ground is moving. A river of green leaves seems to be flowing uphill. These are the leafcutter ants, and they are the world's first farmers. They do not eat the leaves they cut. They cannot digest cellulose. Instead, they chew the leaves into a pulp and use them to fertilize a massive underground fungus garden. They grow their own food. This fungus exists nowhere else in nature. The ants and the fungus have co-evolved for millions of years. The ants weed the garden, removing pest fungi, and use antibiotic bacteria growing on their own bodies to kill parasites. It is a highly sophisticated agricultural society that supports millions of individuals. The queen is the heart of this city, and when a young queen leaves to start a new colony, she carries a tiny piece of the fungus in her mouth, a seed for the new civilization. Picture the complexity of this underground world, the miles of tunnels, the constant rhythmic work of the gardeners. It is the intelligence of systems, of building a structure that sustains life through foresight and care. Visualize the thoughts in your mind not as wild jungle, but as a tended garden. You can choose what to cultivate. You can compost the heavy thoughts of the day and use them to feed the fungus of your dreams, turning the raw material of stress into sustenance for your rest. From the dry earth of the ant farm, we slip into the murky, tea-coloured waters of a Tasmanian creek. Drifting like a log is the platypus. With its eyes, ears and nose closed tight against the water, it hunts in sensory deprivation. Yet, it finds the shrimp hidden in the mud with unerring accuracy. Its secret lies in its bill. The skin of the bill is soft, leathery, and packed with 40,000 electroreceptors. It can detect the tiny electrical charge generated by the muscle twitch of a shrimp's tail. It senses the electricity of life. As it sweeps its bill back and forth, it is scanning the riverbed like a metal detector. It combines this with mechanoreceptors that feel the water pressure, giving it a holographic view of the dark river bottom. Picture this sensation, feeling the spark of life in the darkness. It is a sixth sense, a tingling awareness of the energy around you. Visualize your own body as a receiver, picking up the subtle electrical hum of the universe. It is a gentle, buzzing connection. You don't need to see or hear to be aware. You can sense the safety of the room, the warmth of the bed, the quiet hum of the night, simply by tuning in to the electric frequency of peace that flows like a river through the dark. We emerge from the river and climb the rocky slopes to a high mountain cave where the snow has sealed the entrance shut. Inside, curled in a massive ball of fur, is a black bear. It is in the depths of hibernation, a state of metabolic genius. For 5 months, it will not eat, drink, or release waste. In a human, the buildup of toxic urea would be fatal in days, but the bear's body recycles it. It breaks down the urea and turns it back into protein, using it to maintain its muscle mass while it sleeps. It is a perfect, closed-loop system. Its heart rate drops to 8 beats per minute. Its breathing slows to a ghost of a rhythm. It is sipping on its own reserves, completely self-sufficient. Picture the warmth of the den, the thick, insulating fur, and the absolute suspension of time. The bear is not just sleeping, it is thriving in the stillness. It is the intelligence of conservation, of turning inward and finding everything you need within yourself. You do not need to consume anything from the outside world right now. You have enough. Your body knows how to repair itself, how to recycle the energy of the day into the muscle of tomorrow. Visualize your heart slowing down to match the bear's, a heavy, slow, powerful beat that echoes the deep winter silence of the mountain. Finally, we turn our attention to a reflex that connects you to the bear, the bird, and the babe alike, the yawn. Often dismissed as a sign of boredom, the yawn is actually a sophisticated brain-cooling mechanism. When you yawn, you take in a massive gulp of cool air. At the same time, your jaw stretches, pumping blood flow to the skull. This cool air chills the blood vessels in the roof of your mouth and nose, which then travel up to the brain, acting like a radiator to lower the temperature of your grey matter. A cooler brain is a clearer, calmer brain. It is a biological fan kicking on to prevent overheating. But there is also the intelligence of the contagious yawn. When you see someone yawn, you yawn. This is an ancient social signal, a way for the pack to synchronize its state. It says, we are all tired, we are all safe. It is time for us all to rest together. Picture that wave of release washing over you now. The stretching of the jaw, the deep intake of air, the shudder of relaxation that travels down the spine. It is the body's reset button. It is the signal that the watch is over. Visualize the cool air swirling into your lungs, cooling your thoughts, slowing the engine of your mind. Let the yawn come, deep and wide, and with it, let the final tension of the day flow out of you, leaving your mind cool, quiet, and ready for the silence. From the cool, refreshing release of the yawn, we drift effortlessly toward the freezing silence of the northern woods, where the winter air is so cold it seems to snap like brittle glass. Here, nestled beneath a layer of fallen leaves and hard-packed snow, lies the wood frog. It has achieved a state of being that defies the very definition of life as we know it. It is frozen solid. Touch its skin, and it is as hard as a rock. Its heart has stopped beating. Its lungs have ceased to draw breath. There is no brain activity. To any observer, it appears to have passed away. But within its cells, a miraculous chemistry is at work. Before the freeze set in, the frog's liver pumped massive amounts of glucose, sugar, into its blood. This acts as a natural antifreeze, a syrupy embrace that prevents the water inside its cells from crystallizing and shattering the delicate machinery of life. The ice forms around the cells, not inside them. Picture this suspended animation, a creature locked in a cryogenic slumber, waiting out the harshness of the world by simply pausing its existence. It is the intelligence of surrender. It does not fight the cold. It becomes the cold. It trusts that the warmth will return, and when the spring sun finally touches the forest floor, the heart spontaneously kickstarts, the blood flows again, and the frog hops away as if nothing happened. Visualize the profound safety of this state, the ability to shut down completely, to let the heart rest, knowing that the spark of life is preserved in the sweetness of your own blood, ready to wake when the winter is over. From the frozen stillness of the frog, we drift to the burrow of a tiny, frantic creature that has solved the problem of winter in a completely different, yet equally brilliant way. This is the common shrew. It does not hibernate, and it does not freeze. It faces the famine of winter head-on, but to do so, it performs a feat of biological shape-shifting known as the Denel phenomenon. As the days shorten and the cold sets in, the shrew actually shrinks its own brain. It reduces the size of its skull, its spine, and its major organs by nearly 20%. It physically downsizes its house to lower the heating bill. It consumes its own tissue to become smaller, requiring less food and less energy to stay alive in the scarcity of the snow. Picture this act of radical efficiency, the body intelligently reorganizing itself to fit the season. It is the wisdom of humility, of becoming small when the world is hard, shedding the weight of what is unnecessary. Then, as spring returns, the shrew regrows its brain and body to full size, expanding to meet the abundance of the new year. Visualize your own worries and obligations shrinking down in the night, condensing into a small, manageable seed. You do not need to carry the full weight of your identity right now. You can be small, you can be quiet, you can conserve your energy, tucking yourself into the warm burrow of sleep, knowing you will expand again when the sun rises. The shrinking shrew leads us out of the burrow and into the vast golden expanse of a Utah mountainside, where the wind whispers through the fluttering leaves of the aspen. We see a forest of 40,000 trees, their white trunks standing like pillars in a cathedral. But this is not a forest of many. It is an organism of one. This is Pando, the trembling giant. Every single trunk you see is genetically identical, connected underground by a single, massive root system that has been growing for 80,000 years. It is one of the oldest and heaviest living things on Earth. When one tree needs water, the roots send it from a damp patch a mile away. When one tree is sick, the healthy ones send nutrients to support it. Picture the golden leaves shaking in the breeze, a shimmering sea of yellow, all dancing to the same rhythm. It is the intelligence of unity. Pando does not experience the loneliness of the individual. It knows only the strength of the whole. If a fire burns the trunks above ground, the roots remain safe in the cool earth, ready to send up new shoots. It is immortal through connection. Visualize your feet sinking into the soil, tapping into this network of support. You're not alone in the universe. You are part of a vast, interconnected web of life. Feel the strength of the giant holding you, the ancient roots grounding you, the collective wisdom of the grove whispering that you are safe, supported, and held. We travel from the roots of the aspen to the roots of your own nervous system, tracing a long, wandering path that travels from the base of your brain down into the center of your being. This is the vagus nerve, named after the Latin word for wanderer. It is the superhighway of the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest controller. It winds its way down your neck, wraps around your heart, embraces your lungs, and dives into your stomach. It is the physical channel of calm. When you take a deep, slow breath and exhale longer than you inhale, you're physically stimulating this nerve, sending a chemical message to your entire body. The danger is over. Picture this nerve as a glowing golden thread stitching your body together in peace. It slows the drumbeat of your heart. It softens the tightness in your belly. It is the intelligence of the off switch. It reminds us that relaxation is not just a concept. It is a physical mechanism that you can activate at will. Visualize a warm liquid light pouring down this pathway, coating your nerves in honey, soothing the electrical storms of the day. Every slow exhale is a love letter to your own body, a signal sent down the wandering wire that says, "We are safe. We can rest now." The golden thread of the vagus nerve fades into the iridescent explosion of colour in the shallow tropical waters of the Indo-Pacific. Here, lurking in a burrow, is the mantis shrimp. We pride ourselves on our vision, based on 3 colour receptors, red, green, and blue. But the mantis shrimp possesses 16 distinct types of colour receptors. Its intelligence is one of perception that we cannot even comprehend. It sees colours that have no names in any human language. It sees ultraviolet. It sees polarised light, the orientation of the light waves themselves. Where we see a flat blue ocean, it sees a psychedelic landscape of swirling patterns, hidden signals and glowing trails. It can detect cancer cells in the body before symptoms appear, simply by the way the cells reflect light. Picture the world through these eyes, a place of infinite richness and detail where nothing is hidden. It is a reminder that reality is far grander than our limited senses can perceive. There are layers of beauty, layers of light, and layers of truth that are right in front of us, unseen. Visualize this expanded spectrum, a rainbow that stretches into infinity. Let your mind float in this bath of impossible colours. Realize that the darkness behind your closed eyes is not empty, but filled with the potential of a spectrum you're just beginning to dream of. From the Technicolor Reef we swim north, far north, until the water turns grey and icy, and the sea is dotted with pack ice. Here, breaking the surface with a long, spiralling tusk is the narwhal. For centuries this tusk was a mystery, a horn of the unicorn, but we now know it is an external sensory organ of immense sensitivity. The tusk is actually a tooth that grows through the lip, spiralling out up to 9 feet long. It is filled with 10 million nerve endings, porous and open to the sea. The narwhal does not just swim through the ocean, it tastes it, it feels it. By holding its tusk in the air, it can sense the barometric pressure changes of a coming storm. By dipping it in the water, it detects the precise salinity, telling it where the ice is forming and where the fish are hiding. It can even sense the pheromones of a mate miles away. Picture the narwhal gliding through the dark Arctic waters, its tusk glowing with sensory data. It is the intelligence of hyper-awareness. It connects the animal directly to the element it lives in. Visualize yourself extending your own awareness, feeling the temperature of the air on your cheek, the texture of the sheets, the subtle currents of the room. You're connected to your environment, reading the night with a sense as sharp and magical as the unicorn's horn. The sensitive tusk points us toward the dense, steamy jungles of Borneo, where we find a plant that has turned itself into a hotel for sound. This is the Nepenthes hemsleyana, a species of pitcher plant. Most pitcher plants capture insects, but this one has formed a partnership with the hardwick's woolly bat. The shape of the plant's pitcher is perfectly evolved to reflect the bat's ultrasonic echolocation calls. To a bat scanning the jungle, the plant stands out like a bright acoustic beacon, a lighthouse of sound. The bat flies in and roosts inside the pitcher during the day, safe from predators and the sun. In return, the bat leaves its droppings in the plant, providing the nitrogen the plant needs to survive. It is a bed and breakfast arrangement. The plant's intelligence lies in its acoustic engineering. It has reshaped its own body to speak the language of the bat. Picture the bat tucking itself snugly into the cool green cup of the plant, suspended in a safe embrace. It is the wisdom of hospitality. It teaches us that if we shape ourselves to be a place of refuge, if we offer sanctuary to others, we will be nourished in return. Visualize yourself curling up in that green acoustic sanctuary, hidden from the noise of the world, protected by a structure designed specifically for your rest. From the sanctuary of the plant, we walk softly onto the savannah to witness the ancient medical wisdom of the African elephant. We know they are smart, but they are also doctors. Pregnant elephants have been observed walking for miles, ignoring their usual food sources, to find a specific tree from the Boraginaceae family. They eat the leaves and bark of this tree, and only this tree, to induce labour. Other times they find clay deposits to neutralise toxins in their stomach. This is zoopharmacognosy, animal self-medication. The knowledge of which plants heal and which plants harm is passed down from the matriarchs to the daughters, a living medical library preserved in the herd's memory. Picture the great elephant moving with purpose, selecting the medicine she needs from the landscape. It is the intelligence of intuition and tradition. It is a reminder that the earth provides what we need to heal, and that deep down the body knows what it requires. Visualize your own body's innate wisdom. It knows when it needs water, when it needs warmth, and when it needs sleep. You do not need to force it. Like the elephant, you can trust your instinct to guide you to the source of your own restoration. We look into the wise eye of the elephant and see a reflection, but to understand the true perfection of vision, we must return to the ocean and look into the eye of the octopus or the squid. The human eye is a marvel, but it has a flaw. The optic nerve passes through the retina, creating a blind spot in our vision where we can see nothing. Our brain has to guess what is there, but the cephalopod eye evolved separately in a different branch of the tree of life, and it solved the problem better. Its optic nerve connects from behind the retina. It has no blind spot. It sees the world with a seamless panoramic clarity that we can only imagine. Picture this large liquid eye gazing out from a crevice in the coral, taking in the entire sphere of its environment without a single gap. It is the intelligence of unblemished perception. It sees the whole picture. Visualize your mind's eye opening in the dark, free from the blind spots of bias or fear. Imagine a vision that is continuous, a smooth 360-degree awareness of the peace that surrounds you. There are no holes in the darkness, only a velvet continuity of rest. You're seeing the night clearly and it is beautiful. Finally, we turn to the most uniquely human form of liquid intelligence, the tear. We often think of tears as a sign of weakness or sadness, but biologically, they're a sophisticated waste removal system. There are 3 types of tears: basal, for lubrication; reflex, for irritants like smoke; and emotional. under a microscope, emotional tears look completely different. They contain higher levels of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenocorticotropic hormone, as well as leucine and enkephalin, a natural painkiller produced by the body. When you cry from emotion, you're literally flushing stress chemicals out of your body. You're physically purging the pain. The feeling of relief after a good cry is not just psychological, it is the result of your body chemically rebalancing itself. Picture the tear as a tiny saline pearl, carrying away the toxins of the day. It is the intelligence of release. It is the body's safety valve, ensuring that the pressure does not build too high. Visualize a gentle rain washing over the landscape of your mind, dissolving the salt of worry, carrying it down the river, leaving the soil clean, damp, and refreshed. You've been washed clean. The storm has passed. The air is clear. From the clarity of the washed spirit, we drift effortlessly toward the rich, damp scent of the earth after a summer shower, a perfume that touches something primal in the human soul. This scent has a name, petrichor, but the intelligence behind it is microbial. The pleasant musky smell does not come from the rain itself, but from the soil waking up. It is produced by a type of bacteria called streptomyces. When the ground is dry, these bacteria produce spores to survive the drought, waiting patiently in the dust. When the rain finally falls, the force of the droplets hitting the ground acts like a catapult, launching these spores into the air in a microscopic aerosol. The scent you love is the smell of life returning, a chemical signal that the drought is over. But there is a deeper connection. The human nose is more sensitive to a compound in this scent, called geosmin, than a shark is to blood in the water. We can detect it at 5 parts per trillion. Why? Because our ancestors needed to find water to survive. Evolution etched the map of hydration into our olfactory system. Picture the dry, cracked earth drinking in the cool rain, the bacteria releasing their relief into the air, and your own body responding with an ancient instinctive relaxation. It is the intelligence of survival, a chemical conversation between the soil and your lungs that whispers, "Water is here, life is safe, you can rest." The scent of the damp earth rises, drawing our attention upward to the trees, where a rhythmic, buzzing chorus begins to swell. This is the song of the cicada, and hidden within its drone is a mastery of prime numbers. Some species of periodical cicadas spend almost their entire lives underground, waiting in the dark for exactly 13 or 17 years. Why these specific numbers? Because they are prime, divisible only by themselves and one. By emerging only in prime-numbered years, they avoid syncing up with the life cycles of predators like wasps or birds that might boom every 2, 3, or 4 years. If the cicadas emerged every 12 years, they would be eaten by any predator with a 2, 3, 4, or 6-year cycle. But by choosing 17, they ensure their enemies are never waiting for them in force. It is a mathematical survival strategy played out over decades. Picture the patience of the nymph underground, counting the turning of the seasons in the dark, waiting for the precise, mathematically perfect moment to emerge into the light. It is a lesson in timing. You do not need to be constantly visible to be successful. You can wait. You can grow in the quiet dark, safe from the noise above, trusting that your moment to sing will come in its own perfect, calculated time. From the mathematical precision of the canopy, we slip down into the cool, dark waters of a Mexican lake, where a creature of perpetual youth smiles a Mona Lisa smile. This is the axolotl, the walking fish. Its intelligence is the biological miracle of regeneration. While most animals scar and heal imperfectly, the axolotl can regrow an entire lost limb, bone, muscle, nerve, and skin, so perfectly that within weeks you cannot tell it was ever gone. It can even regenerate parts of its heart and brain. It possesses a cellular memory of its own blueprint that never fades. It refuses to grow up, keeping its feathery gills and living underwater its entire life, a phenomenon called neoteny. It remains forever in the larval stage, forever open to potential. Picture this pink, translucent creature floating in the shadows, its gills gently waving like underwater ferns. It carries within it the code of endless renewal. It does not mourn what is lost, it simply rebuilds it. Visualize your own body's capacity for repair, the silent intelligence of your cells working right now to knit together the wear and tear of the day. You're a self-healing vessel. Like the axolotl, you possess a blueprint of health that your body is constantly striving to return to. Float in that restorative fluid, letting the water of sleep wash over you, regenerating your spirit. We rise from the lake and hover in the air, vibrating with energy, alongside the jewel-like Costa's hummingbird. We think of them as frantic, high-energy creatures, but their true intelligence lies in how they handle the off-switch. Because they burn energy so fast, a hummingbird cannot sleep like we do. If they did, they would starve to death before morning. Instead, they enter a state called torpor. It is a mini hibernation. They slow their heart rate from over 1,000 beats per minute to fewer than 50. They drop their body temperature dramatically, becoming cold to the touch. They hang upside down from a branch, appearing lifeless, completely surrendering to the conservation of energy. They tread the line between life and death every single night to survive. Picture the bird slowing down its internal engine, the rapid whir of wings silencing into a profound stillness. It is the wisdom of the deep power down. It teaches us that to burn bright, we must also know how to go dark. You cannot be on all the time. Visualize your own heart rate slowing, not to the edge of death, but to the deep, heavy rhythm of preservation. Let the heat of the day dissipate. Let your limbs become heavy and cool. You're entering your own torpor, a safe and heavy suspension where you save your fire for the dawn. From the stillness of the bird, we drift to the sun-dappled floor of the ocean, where a tiny glowing slug grazes on algae. This is the leaf sheep, Costaciella croshimai, and it has unlocked a secret that animals are not supposed to know: how to eat light. When it eats algae, it does not digest the chloroplasts, the solar power plants of the plant cell. Instead, it absorbs them into its own skin. The slug turns green and begins to photosynthesize. It becomes a solar-powered animal. It can survive for months on sunlight alone, blurring the line between flora and fauna. Picture this tiny, adorable creature, looking like a cartoon sheep made of glowing green leaves, basking in the sunbeams that filter through the water. It takes in the light and turns it into sugar, into energy, into life. It is the intelligence of absorption. It reminds us that we can take in the energy around us, the warmth of the sun, the kindness of a friend, the beauty of a song, and make it part of our own structure. Visualize yourself soaking up the peaceful energy of this moment, letting it fill your cells with a soft bioluminescent glow. You're being fed by the light of your own dreams. The light fades into the rhythmic grey wash of the tide on a sandy beach. Hundreds of fiddler crabs are waving their oversized claws in the air, but their intelligence is chronobiological. They are masters of timing. The fiddler crab changes its skin colour to be darker during the day, protection from the sun, and lighter at night. It also knows exactly when the tide will turn. If you take a fiddler crab from the beach and put it in a dark box in a laboratory hundreds of miles away, completely cut off from the sun and the moon, it will still become active exactly when the tide is receding at its home beach. It carries the ocean within it. It has an internal tidal clock that runs independent of external cues. Picture the crab in the dark, feeling the phantom pull of a moon it cannot see, moving in perfect sync with a rhythm established by the cosmos. It is the intelligence of the internal rhythm. You too have tides within you, cycles of energy and rest, hunger and fullness. You do not need a clock to tell you when to sleep. Your body knows the tide is going out. Trust that internal pull. Let the waters of your consciousness recede, pulling back from the shore of the world, following the ancient silent gravity of your own need for rest. We follow that internal tide inward, deep into the architecture of the human brain, to the entorhinal cortex. Here, we find the Nobel Prize-winning discovery of grid cells. These are the neurons that create the map of your reality. Unlike a GPS that uses satellites, your brain generates a hexagonal grid, a honeycomb pattern of coordinates that it overlays on every room you enter. When you walk across your bedroom in the dark, these cells fire in a precise triangular pattern, telling you exactly where you are in space. You're literally navigating a geometric construct generated by your own mind. It is a coordinate system for existence. Picture this glowing, hexagonal lattice stretching out across the floor, invisible but steady. It anchors you. It means you're never truly lost because your brain is constantly drawing a map of your relationship to the world. Visualize this grid stabilizing the space around you. The room is not a chaotic void. It is a known quantity, mapped and measured by the silent surveyors of your mind. Feel the comfort of that structure, the certainty of knowing your place in the physical world, held securely within the geometry of your own consciousness. The geometric grid softens into the curled, armoured shape of a creature resting in the hollow of a tree. This is the pangolin. Its intelligence is the geometry of safety. It is the only mammal covered in scales made of keratin, the same material as your fingernails. When threatened, the pangolin does not fight. It rolls into a perfect sphere. Its scales are arranged like roof tiles, overlapping in a way that creates an impenetrable shield. A lion can bat this ball around for hours and find no purchase. The pangolin simply waits inside, safe in its own architecture. It creates a sanctuary of the self. It understands that sometimes the smartest move is not to engage, but to close the circle. Picture the smooth, cool scales locking together, shutting out the noise and the danger. Inside the ball, the pangolin is warm, soft and protected. Visualize yourself curling up mentally, pulling your energy in from the extremities, wrapping yourself in a protective layer of calm. The world can spin outside, but inside your sphere, everything is quiet. You're untouchable here. You're a closed circle of peace, complete and secure. From the protective embrace of the pangolin, we move to the chemical embrace within your own bloodstream. We focus on a molecule that acts as a liquid bridge between souls, oxytocin. Often called the cuddle hormone, its intelligence is one of bonding. It is released when you hug someone, when you pet a dog, or even when you wrap yourself in a warm weighted blanket. It lowers your blood pressure. It blocks the production of stress hormones. It tells the amygdala, the fear center of the brain, to stand down. It is the chemical signature of trust. It is the biological feeling of home. Picture this molecule as a warm golden nectar flowing through your veins, melting the icy walls of isolation. It is the body's way of rewarding you for connection. Even imagining a hug can release it. Visualize the sensation of being held, the weight of a comforting arm across your shoulders, or the soft pressure of the mattress rising to meet you. That feeling of safety is not just an emotion. It is a medicine you are creating right now. Let the oxytocin flow, turning off the alarms, softening the edges, wrapping you in a blanket of biochemical love. Finally, we travel to the very center of your brain, right behind the bridge of your nose, to a tiny cluster of 20,000 neurons called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is the master clock. This is the conductor of the orchestra of your life. Its intelligence is time itself. It sits directly above the optic nerves, watching for the light. When the sun goes down and the light fades, this tiny commander sends a signal to the pineal gland to release melatonin, the hormone of darkness. It lowers your body temperature. It slows your metabolism. It coordinates the circadian rhythms of every single cell in your body, from your liver to your skin. It ensures that you are in sync with the rotation of the Earth. Picture this tiny pulsing star in the center of your head, slowly dimming the lights of the house. It is turning down the dial. It knows that the planet has turned away from the sun, and it is guiding you to do the same. You do not have to try to sleep. The master clock is doing it for you. It is a sequence of events set in motion billions of years ago. Visualize the lights going out one by one in the mansion of your body, guided by this ancient timekeeper. The rhythm is slowing. The cycle is completing. The day is done. From the quiet command of the master clock, we drift effortlessly toward the dark velvet curtain of the night sky, where the absence of light allows other senses to awaken and take flight. We drift from the internal clock of the brain to the external mastery of the air, finding ourselves gliding silently over a moonlit meadow on the wings of a barn owl. While most birds announce their presence with the whistling of wind through their feathers, the owl has solved the problem of noise through the intelligence of aerodynamics. Run your mind along the leading edge of an owl's wing. It is not smooth, it is serrated, like the teeth of a comb. These serrations break up the rushing air into tiny turbulent microcurrents, softening the whoosh into a whisper. The rest of the wing is covered in a soft, downy pile like velvet, which absorbs the remaining sound frequencies. It is a stealth technology evolved over millions of years. Picture the owl hunting, a ghost in the air, flying without a sound, hearing the rustle of a mouse in the grass with ears that are asymmetrical, one higher than the other, to triangulate sound perfectly in 3D space. It is the intelligence of silence. It teaches us that power does not need to be loud. Visualize yourself moving through your own dreams with this velvet grace, your thoughts gliding effortlessly, creating no turbulence, disturbing nothing, simply observing the landscape of the night with a quiet, wide-eyed wisdom. The silence of the owl settles over the land, and we descend from the air to the sandy floor of the Pacific Ocean, where a true artist is at work. Here, a small, unassuming pufferfish is engaged in a labour of geometric genius. To attract a mate, the male pufferfish spends days creating a crop circle in the sand, a circular mandala measuring 7 feet across, dwarfing his own small body. He uses his fins to plough the sand, creating perfect ridges and valleys that radiate from the centre. He decorates the peaks with shells and fragments of coral, placing them with the precision of a jeweller. But the intelligence lies in the hydrodynamics. The ridges are designed to channel the water currents toward the centre, sweeping away the fine silt and leaving only the cleanest, softest sand for the female's eggs. Picture this tiny architect swimming tirelessly in circles, creating a masterpiece of symmetry and flow that will likely be washed away by the next tide. He does not despair. He builds it for the beauty of the moment. It is the intelligence of devotion. Visualize the meditative rhythm of his work, the slow sweeping of the sand, the creation of order out of chaos. Let your own mind trace the lines of this underwater mandala, finding peace in the symmetry, knowing that the act of creating calm is its own reward. From the shifting sands of the seabed, we travel to the cool, damp floor of a pine forest, where a different kind of architectural intelligence is hidden in plain sight. Lying on the bed of needles is a humble pine cone. It appears dead, a wooden relic. Yet, it possesses a hygroscopic intelligence. It can sense and respond to the moisture in the air without a single living cell. The scales of the cone are built from 2 layers of material that expand and contract at different rates. When the air is damp and rainy, the scales swell and shut tight, locking the seeds inside to protect them from the wet and the cold. When the air turns dry and warm, the scales flex and open, releasing the seeds to catch the wind. It is a passive, mechanical intelligence, a smart material designed by nature to act only when the conditions are perfect. Picture the pine cone closing its armour against the storm, holding its potential safe within a wooden embrace. It does not struggle, it simply responds to the atmosphere. Visualize yourself as the pine cone, sensing the weather of your life. When it is stormy, you can close up, keep your energy safe, and wait. When the sun comes out, you can open again. It is effortless. It is automatic. You can trust your own shell to protect you. The scent of pine fades into a sweet floral breeze, carrying us to a garden where a fuzzy yellow and black creature is engaged in something that looks remarkably like joy. We watch a bumblebee, not gathering nectar, but interacting with small wooden balls placed by researchers. The bees roll the balls, they push them. They do not get a treat for doing this. They do not get sugar. They do it seemingly for the sheer fun of it. Younger bees play more than older bees. They return to the balls again and again, exhibiting the biological markers of optimism. This is the intelligence of play. For a long time, we thought insects were biological robots. But the bumblebee reveals an emotional depth we're just beginning to understand. Play is not a waste of time. It is a way to relieve stress, to practice motor skills, and to experience positive states of being. Picture the tiny bee tumbling over the ball, buzzing with a simple, vibration-based happiness. It is a reminder that even in a life of hard work, there is room for the frivolous, the silly, and the fun. Visualize your own spirit taking a moment to roll a ball, to do something just because it feels good, letting the heavy burden of purpose drop away in favor of the lightness of being. From the buzzing garden, we dive into the cold, nutrient-rich waters of the North Pacific, joining a pod of orcas. Leading the way is not the largest male, but the oldest female. This is the grandmother. Orcas and humans are among the only species on Earth where females live for decades after they can no longer reproduce. This is the grandmother hypothesis, the intelligence of wisdom. The matriarch carries the map of the ocean in her mind. She remembers where the salmon ran 50 years ago during the last great famine. She knows the safe harbours. When the pod is hungry, they look to her. Her survival is not about creating new life, but about guiding the life that already exists. Picture this elder moving through the dark water with slow, powerful strokes, her mind a library of survival charts and ancient songs. She is the keeper of the culture. Visualize the comfort of following such a leader, a presence that has seen it all and survived. You do not need to know the way. You're part of a pod that is guided by deep ancestral memory. You can relax in the wake of her wisdom, knowing that the path has been chosen by someone who knows the ocean better than you ever will. We follow the memory of the water to the shoreline, where a prehistoric ritual is taking place under the light of the moon. A female sea turtle is dragging herself up the beach. She has not been here for 30 years, not since she was a hatchling the size of a dinner plate. Yet, she has returned to the exact stretch of sand where she was born to lay her own eggs. This is the intelligence of geomagnetic imprinting. When she was a baby, scrambling down this beach toward the surf, her brain locked onto the unique magnetic signature of this specific coastline, the angle and intensity of the Earth's field at this coordinate. She has carried this magnetic address in her mind as she swam thousands of miles across the open ocean, navigating the featureless blue. It is an internal homing beacon that never needs batteries. Picture the invisible lines of magnetic force guiding her through the currents, a gentle, relentless pull toward home. Visualize that same pull within you. There is a place of rest, a sanctuary that is your birthright, and your soul knows exactly where it is. You do not need a map. You simply need to surrender to the current that is guiding you back to your center, back to the source, back to the place where you can lay down your burdens. The sound of the surf muffles and changes, becoming a rhythmic whooshing thrum, a sound heard through water and skin. We shrink down, curling up into the warmest, safest room in existence, the womb. Here, the human fetus is displaying the intelligence of listening. Long before a baby is born, it is learning language. It cannot understand words, but it understands the melody, the prosody, the rhythm, and the pitch of its mother's voice. It learns the accent of its native tongue while floating in the dark. French babies cry with a rising intonation. German babies cry with a falling one. They are mimicking the song of their mothers. Picture this suspended state of pure absorption, floating in the warm amniotic fluid, listening to the muffled, comforting vibration of the outside world. The heartbeat is a steady drum. The voice is a cello playing through the walls. It is the intelligence of connection before sight. You are wired to listen, to tune in to the frequency of love. Visualize yourself returning to this primal safety, where there is nothing to do but grow and listen. The world is a lullaby. You are held. You are warm. You're already learning the song of peace. The muffled song clarifies into a series of distinct, affectionate chirps as we travel to the canopy of a Venezuelan rainforest. Here, perched on a branch, are the green-rumped parrotlets. These birds possess an intelligence that was once thought to be uniquely human. They name their children. When a chick is hatching, the parents give it a specific signature call, a sound that refers only to that individual. It is a name. The chick learns this name and uses it to identify itself. The parents whisper these names to their babies in the nest, and the siblings learn each other's names. Throughout their lives, they will use these specific sounds to call out to family members in the dense jungle. Picture the cacophony of the rainforest, and cutting through it, the clear, specific sound of your name being called by someone who loves you. It is the intelligence of identity. You are known. You're not just a bird in the flock. You're a specific soul with a specific sound. Visualize the comfort of that recognition, the invisible thread of sound that connects you to your tribe, ensuring that no matter how thick the jungle gets, you can always be found. We fly from the noisy jungle to the moist, dark soil of a meadow, where we burrow down to look closely at the tip of a growing root. Charles Darwin called this the root brain. The very end of the root, the apex, is a sensory command center. It can detect gravity, moisture, light, pressure, and chemical nutrients. It makes decisions. If it hits a toxic substance, it steers away. If it hits a rock, it navigates around it. It does not just grow blindly, it explores. It tastes the earth. It is searching for the path of least resistance and greatest nourishment. Picture the root tip pushing gently through the soil, sensitive and determined. It moves slowly, but with absolute purpose. It anchors the plant while simultaneously searching for what sustains it. It is the intelligence of grounding. Visualize your own connection to the earth, your own roots extending down into the cool, dark stability of the ground. You're navigating the soil of your life, steering away from what is hard and toxic, and moving inevitably toward the water, toward the nourishment, toward the place where you can stand firm and grow tall. Finally, the soil transforms into a blanket of white as we stand in the center of a snow-covered field. The world is muted. The sharp edges of sound have been softened. This is the intelligence of the snowflake, not just as a crystal, but as an acoustic insulator. Freshly fallen snow is composed of up to 90% trapped air. The complex structure of the flakes creates millions of tiny pockets that trap sound waves, preventing them from bouncing. It is nature's soundproofing foam. The silence of snow is a real physical phenomenon. The world literally gets quieter when it snows. Picture the flakes falling, millions of tiny hands reaching out to catch the noise of the world and hold it still. The roar of the distant road, the hum of the city, the worry of the mind, all of it is absorbed into the white softness. It is the intelligence of the blanket. It covers the earth in a hush, demanding that we stop, that we listen to the nothingness. Visualize this layer of snow settling over your mind, a cool, white quilt that muffles every thought, every stress, every sound, leaving you in a perfect crystalline silence that is deep, soft, and infinitely peaceful. From the muffled silence of the snow, we drift effortlessly toward the silence of the snow, deeper and further, until we arrive at the absolute foundation of all things. We have travelled through the minds of octopuses and elephants, the roots of trees and the architecture of the clouds, but the final secret, the 101st wonder, is the intelligence of the material you're made of. You are, quite literally, stardust. Every atom of carbon in your muscles, every atom of iron in your blood, every atom of calcium in your bones was forged inside the crushing, fiery heart of a dying star billions of years ago. When those stars exploded, they scattered their ashes across the cosmos, and after eons of drifting, gravity pulled that dust together to form the earth, the water, and eventually you. This means that you're not merely living in the universe, you are the universe. You're an aperture through which the cosmos is observing itself. Your consciousness is the universe waking up to marvel at its own beauty. Picture this profound truth. The intelligence that orchestrates the spin of the galaxies is the exact same intelligence that beats your heart and knits your dreams. There is no separation. You do not have to struggle to be smart or worthy or safe, because you are the fabric of existence itself. You are 13.8 billion years old. You have survived supernovas, the freezing of oceans, and the drift of continents to be here, lying in this bed, breathing this air. The wisdom of the ages is not something you need to learn. It is encoded in the atomic structure of your hands. You are the ancient, enduring energy of creation, currently resting in the form of a human. Feel the weight of that history, not as a burden, but as an anchor. You are monumental. You are eternal. You are the sky looking at the sky. And just as the stars burn bright and then fade into the velvet dark to rest, so too must you. The universe is tired. The universe in you is ready to close its eyes. And so the boat begins to slow. The current that has carried us through the jungle, the ocean, the sky, and the microscopic world gently eases its pace. The water beneath us becomes still, smooth as black glass, reflecting the quiet light of 1,000,000 stars, each one a fact, a wonder, a story we have gathered along the way. The oars are drawn in, the journey is complete. We drift toward a soft, mossy bank where the mist hangs low and warm. You can feel the gentle bump as the boat touches the shore of the subconscious, docking safely in the harbour of deep sleep. There is nothing left to learn tonight. There is nothing left to understand. The library is closed. The laboratory is dark. The forest has gone quiet. All the animals, the plants, the cells, and the stars we have visited are bowing their heads in the great unified reverence of rest. They are all sleeping now. The octopus has curled into its den. The tree has slowed its sap. The mountain has settled into the earth. And you, the witness of it all, are heavier than you have ever been. Your eyelids are heavy curtains made of velvet. Your limbs are made of warm, sinking stone. Your breath is the tide moving out and out and out. Let go of the concepts. Let go of the words. Let them dissolve like sugar in warm water, leaving only the sweetness behind. You're drifting down into the soft, warm dark. It is safe here. It is quiet here. The universe is holding you in its arms, rocking you slowly, ancient and kind. You are loved by the gravity that holds you. You're protected by the night that covers you. The stories have all been told. The wonders have all been counted. And now, 101 wonders are resting with you. Sleep now. Good night.